Exclamation point. A golden figure, wrapped in damaged linen, was thrown into a SS grave outside the city. A series of loud caws, with corpses around. Crows weren't scared to fly, thus unknown black feathers are falling from the air. The bones were placed over another, typically so that both are still evident. The decay smell and the surrounding air is extremely cold and turbid. This Lord of the Jiao is really pitiful. Do we really need to bury her with the other corpses? Shut your mouth. A woman who is so vulgar and sinister like her dares to think about the seventh prince. She deserves to die. I didn't think of that. The beauty of the Mu Jiao is. Those who have not finished talking yet were startled. In the original ghastly SS grave, suddenly, they heard some rustle, like there's some force that is about to wake up. A disgusting smell made Mu Qian awaken from her chaotic consciousness. When she opened her eyes, she saw a canine that was 3 times bigger than a normal wolf dog in front of her. She didn't think twice, just directly attacked. Her right hand's movement was so fast. With a dagger in her hand, she accurately cuts down the neck of the dog! The wolf dog fell to the ground. Oh. The last wails before its death. After releasing the wolf dog to destroy the body, the 3 people went to check. Upon arriving, they heard a voice behind them. Upon looking back, they had found a pair of dark and treacherous eyes at this time that is staring at them. Ghost, they exclaimed, wanting to run right away. Stop, all of you. Mu Qian said. The voice of indifference seems to be from Hell. They are scared and stiff, no longer dares to move. Don't kill me. Don't eat me. We are just paid to do things. Mu Qian stood on the hills piled up by the bones and slowly walked down. With a torn robe, full of blood, she seemed to climb out of Hell. She ignored the 3 people but looked around. Where is this? Am I not studying new drugs in the laboratory? Suddenly there was a sharp pain in my brain. Some familiar and unfamiliar information emerged in her mind like a tide. Mu Qian, Mu Jiao's lord. Mu Jiao, the Purple Moon Country's first nouveau rich family. There are piles of gold and silver as tall as mountains in their state. It isn't money from evil, but this lord is such a waste. In this world where the strong is respected, whereas has 2 divisions which are martial arts and spiritual training, and Mu Qian, not only martial arts but she also has no apartment etude for spiritual training, a complete waste. Even though she is a waste, this Mu Qian also dresses so provocatively and almost all of her body has gold, silver and jade. Wherever she went, she was ridiculed, disdained and despised. And the things that she had done today are even more outrageous. In order to get her fiancé's personal jade, she competed with the eldest daughter of a significant official in a match, until she was ruthlessly killed by Ouyang Wei and was thrown into the SS grave. These 3 people were ordered by that miss to dump her corpse here. Also, there are other people who paid them to come with such a dog to tear her body. Those people really wanted her dead. They saw Mu Qian, who was approaching like a resurrection of an evil spirit, and hurriedly begged for mercy. Lord, please spare us. This is what our family miss asked us to do. That wolf dog is handed to us by Mu's second miss. Mu Jiao only has her as the daughter in the family. There is no second miss that they spoke of. Mu Ruyun, because of her good relationship with the family, she almost blindly obeyed her and made everyone call her as the second miss. Mu Ruyun is usually an understanding person and would gladly take care of other people. However, I didn't expect that her heart was so cold and more vicious than Ouyang Wei is. For these pleadings, Mu Qian did not care, and the mastermind, of course, she will also get them back for what they've done. She will never let them go. Like a ghost, she jumped towards the men and with her skill, moved around to reach each of their nape. 3 snaps! 3 bodies were fiercely kicked like a ball, fell hard on the ground. Even in death they still didn't know what happened, they died easily like that. Method such as this was like a way of a demon. With a fatal blow, they were easily sent to a trip to Yellow Spring. She is the modern ghost doctor and people honor her skills like a master. Right or wrong, no one dares to slight her. All those who have offended her have been sent to King Yama unceremoniously. Drip drip. Mu Qian moved twice, and the wounds on her body splits larger that blood flows down to the ground. Under the bones and ashes in the SS grave, There is a green slate that greedily absorbs the blood flowing down from Mu Qian. Suddenly, a pale green light wrapped her body and took her to a place. Mu Qian opened her eyes and found herself sitting in a pavilion. This is a quaint little pavilion. The color gray and green is so mysterious. Surrounded by a long lake, this exquisite small pavilion is like an island in the sea. Where is this? Mu Qian murmured. At this time, Mu Qian decided to feel the lake, and there were fishes swimming. Plop! Sounds of water dripping came over. When Mu Qian turned over and looked at it, she saw a boy like a water demon in the clear lake swimming like a fish. Jiao, clan, an extended family related by blood, sharing a surname. Yellow Springs, Underworld, also commonly called the Netherworld or Hell. There are said to be 18 levels of the Underworld, where sinners are punished prior to reincarnation. King Yama, also known as King Yang, the ruler of the Underworld, the judge of the dead, and the overseer of the cycle of reincarnation. Meets a beautiful youth. The eyebrows seemed as if painted with ink, skin like snow, and that exquisite face is like the painting of a god. Long grey-green hair slid down from the shoulder to the lake, just like a good silk. Like a but turfly's wing, his thick eyelashes flashed a little as he opened his eyes. A pair of pale green clear eyes, an imperious soul. Like a pure and innocent spirit, cannot be profaned. He looked at Mu Qian, and the cherry lips opened. It is you, ugly woman, who entered my space and awakened me. The face of Mu Qian, who appreciates this beauty before suddenly, turns cold. Kid, if you dare go ash. I promise I won't kill you. You dare to call me ugly. You are ugly, he said after looking at her from top to bottom. The voice of the boy is clear just like an elf would have, and his soft tone was fit for a fairy, but his every word feels like it has been dipped with poison. Every word is a slap in the face. Mu Qian walked towards the pavilion and saw her reflection in the water. In an instant, she was scared of herself. Golden dress, but at this time she looks more like a shabby beggar. Messy hair, even the chicken coop is much better. There is also her face that has a thick layer of powder, which states I can't wait to paint my face all day long. I can't take it, I can't stand this, must wash it off. Plop. Mu Qian directly jumped into the clear lake. This time a scream came over. Ah, ugly woman. Get out of here. You dare to dirty my water spirit lake. Suddenly, the lake became turbulent. He wanted to take hold of Mu Qian and take her out of the lake. Crash! Mu Qian swam quickly towards the teenager, and grabbed his neck as she said, Kid, if you dare to do that again, I will break your neck. The skin is cold and delicate, just like fine porcelain. Hiss! All of a sudden, she felt a sharp pain in her body, quickly tossed the boy into the water. FUCK. What have you done to me? The boy's face also turned white as he said, hurry up. Get out. Her whole body seems to be shredded from the inside out. Large drops of sweat formed from her forehead as she resists the pain, but she was angrier when she heard the harsh words coming from the youth. One pain does not stop her from taking her revenge to this stupid fellow. She bow her head towards the youth direction and fiercely bite his arm. Ah! A high-pitched scream was heard. The teenager continues to wail. Ugly woman, let go of me. It hurts. Mu Qian doesn't care how much it hurts, because once she let go, she's going to lose her mind. In her veins, inside her blood vessels, as if there is a beast charging inside and is about to collapse. If she did not bite the youth's arm, I'm afraid that she'll bite her tongue instead. Boom. A cold breath came in. Her soul at this point felt a terrible twinge. That makes her mind feel blank. Even though Mu Qian fainted, she still didn't loosen her bite from the youth's arm. It reeks. Ugly woman, you. As he stuttered. The frantic sounds brought her to her senses, and then she smelled a stench that was truly hard to bear. As she opens her eyes, the clear visible lake she saw before turns black. You. Hurry up and let go of me. Mu Qian wraps her arm around the youth's neck, ensuring that she can subdue him before the boy starts to do things against her. On the flawless arm of the youth, a bloody mark with a deep wound enough to see the bone was left. It seems that she bit him so hard just now. What is going on? Mu Qian asked. The water in the lake has the ability to cleanse the essence, with your dirty body after soaking in it, of course. The youth explained while holding his nose. There are so many impurities in your body. The water in the whole lake has the impurities that were discharged by her body, in which she is the most toxic among it. Ah, I can't stand it anymore. Let go. Crash. The youth really can't stand the horrid stench of the lake, as he tries to figure out how to resurface out of the water. His delicate collarbone and fair skin are exposed in front of Mu Qian. Even if she saw only the upper body, his figure is really good. Don't move. Mu Qian increased her grip on the youth. Get out of my way. Hurry up. Even if your blood was the one who woke me up, I still won't acknowledge you. A powerful force almost made Mu Qian fly out. At this time, a blue light shrouded the two of them, and the youth's face turned ugly and angrily said, "How is it possible?" In Mu Qian's mind, there was a voice that sounded like from the ancient times. The Eternal Pavilion, Chaos Zhouzhong Pavilion, 9 layers of territory, the wax and wane of stars. My name is Chaos Zhouzhong Pavilion, shall be with thee forever, in soul we will be connected, together for all eternity, are you willing? The young man's moving voice confuses the mind of Mu Qian as she unconsciously said, "I am willing." A ray of a faint green light flew between Mu Qian's eyebrows. She looked at the youth in front of her. At this moment, his delicate face became darker than the bottom of a pot. "You have already taken possession of my body. Are you satisfied? Now, let me out." Clash. The youth's foot suddenly came out of the water towards Mu Qian's direction to kick her from behind. "Your legs are long but your jewels are still small." "Ah." Mu Qian snorted. "Ah. Ugly woman. I want to kill you." A roaring sound came from the lake. In a flash, the youth flew straight into Mu Qian. She was somewhat unprepared. "Damn. That youth dares to kick her. If it really lands on her, I'm afraid she'll be broken into pieces." Exclamation point. She was thrown back in the Mars' grave again. Bump. But Mu Qian didn't feel hurt at all as she falls down to the ground. Instead she felt comfortable in the wide and firm ground. And this ground, there is actually a temperature. What Mu Qian finally realizes is, under her body, there seems to be a human being. Zhouzhong means 9 level, the wax and wane of stars. This refers to the cycle of the universe as in the waxing and waning of the moon, and the rising and setting of the sun. Itself also means life and livelihood, and thus this also refers to the cycle of life itself. I literally lost myself in this line. Too much context XD. I'm getting the vibes that the pavilion is asking for Mu Qian's hand in marriage. Ha. Also male lead will appear in the next chapter. The aura of Chaos Zhouzhong Pavilion. Mu Qian hurriedly climbed up, but did not expect to encounter such a peerless beauty before her eyes. The man underneath, his long black hair that as dark as an ink is scattered on the ground, added with the touch of sunlight it looks more soft than any expensive silk, that each strand has a touch of certain glow in it. He possesses a pair of icy blue eyes that are deep as the abyss. His gaze is like clear water without ripples. So mystical, as if it can swallow a human soul. A high bridge nose, thin red lips, as beautiful as peach and plum blossoms, but as cold as frost and ice. He is like the cold king of Ashura, but also devastatingly beautiful as a fairy. Suddenly, his cold hands ruthlessly strangles the neck of Mu Qian, shrouded by the smell of death. His cold-blooded gaze causes Mu Qian to freeze, like she's being possessed by an evil spirit. "I didn't mean to crush you," Mu Qian said, as she smiles at him. Such a powerful man, just like her if treated with respect would not especially kill a person, is what she thought. But who knows that his reply would be, "The Eternal Pavilion is in you." Voice that can compare to an oldest wine, which are mellow and intoxicating. The Eternal Pavilion. In a flash, a series of information flooded her mind. Eternal Pavilion, also known as Chaos Zhouzhong Pavilion, is one of the 9 eternal artifacts. And the boy in the lake is the spirit of the Chaos Zhouzhong Pavilion. Between them is a strong bond. This kind of treasure that only exists in myths, if revealed, will sure attract the unwanted attention of strong parties. However, as she was about to run out of luck, another terrible thing appeared. Mu Qian is in an unfair condition, thus raising her vigilance towards the man. But how did he know that the Chaos Zhouzhong Pavilion was on her? Mu Qian looked at his eyes and asked with a look of doubt, What is it that you've spoke of, Eternal Pavilion? How come I've never heard of this before? If this man learned that she already made a contract with it, I'm afraid he will kill her immediately. You have the aura of the Chaos Jojong Pavilion on your body. The thin lips bring up such cold remarks. In this moment, she already felt the killing intent that is exuding in his body. It seems that all her lies are exposed. Mu Qian shuddered, but calmly said, Chaos Jojong Pavilion already has a contract with me. If you kill me, it will also disappear. Let go of me so we can talk properly. Sure enough, he heard it and let go. Taking advantage of the situation, Mu Qian sprang up. However, the man is like a ghost and in a second, he caught up with Mu Qian easily. Feeling the pressure of this Ashura, Mu Qian almost can't breathe. Mu Qian grit her teeth. Her ghost doctor abilities aren't easily defeated, but today her opponent is so powerful that it's impossible to beat him. In an instant, her hands, elbows and knees are all turned to be her weapons, thus attacking him. No poison drug in her hand, can't use spiritual energy, close combat is her only choice. However, the man in front of him was extremely fast, and the attacks of Mu Qian fell directly. His hands grabbed her arm like lightning. At that moment, Mu Qian lifted her right leg and kicked the man's knee to free her from his grasp. The man attacked her once again, this time with the intent to kill. The speed of the man is on par with her, wrong, it's like he didn't exert energy at all. In Mu Qian's eyes, she didn't think that this man was so arrogant like this. Actually suppressing their own strength and toying with people, how humiliating is this? Let him take a good look at the skills of the 21 centuries close combat. Two people clashed and almost a dozen of hits landed. The golden dress, which was originally a rag, was even more miserable now, revealing her skin. At this time, she was forced by the other party to a tree, she said helplessly. Noble hero, I know that I am not your opponent at all, just ask what can I do for you to let me go. Let the spirit of Chaos Jojong Pavilion come out to see me. What if I can't? She already tried but can't contact the youth, completely ignoring her life at all. How can she ask him to come out then? Then die. The words that reveal her horrible ending. Mu Qian felt goosebumps all over her arm. In this critical moment, Mu Qian's arms hooked his neck as she whispered in his ear, with slight HOA. RSE voice, she said. Mr. Handsome, always saying die is not a good habit, you know, I have much worth if you won't kill me. Apparently, the person in front of her body suddenly stiffened. Let go, he whispered. He, Mr. Handsome is really cute, are you embarrassed? Said. The smell in her body became more terrible, but Mu Qian thought that she doesn't want to die yet. It is better to seduce this powerful demon-like man, maybe he will get nauseous enough to leave her alone. Just as he was about to release himself from her, Mu Qian's hand pressed against his kidney. If this acupuncture point is badly hit, he would not be a man for all his life. Mu Qian coldly said. Beautiful man, if you don't want to become a eunuch forever, it is best for you not to kill me. SSS. His demon face was slightly frozen in an instant. She dare. At this time, Ju Yi could not wait to swallow this woman. If you want to keep the joy of using your lower half, then send me to my family. She remembered that her little uncle seems to be one of the masters of the Purple Moon country, and now I am afraid that only little uncle can save her from this man. Just when Mu Qian thought that she was finally gonna escape from his claws, suddenly her head felt dizzy. Damn it. This body is too weak. With the high-intensity battle accompanied by the intense pressure of this man, she now reached her limit. Sorry. I really laughed so hard at that part. Ha ha ha, what did you think of the first meeting of our MC and ML? Actually, I really like this setup. I kinda evade reading novels with love at first sight theme. Ju Yi is currently looking down at the woman who fainted on him. That little face was already pale to begin with. Now it seems that it will really turn to white if she continues to lie there on the ground. He breathes slightly as he grabs her by the waist in one hand. And the black figure disappears through the dark night. Master, you're back, that is. Housekeeper Bai was stunned to see his young master holding a woman with ruined clothes that was brought back to the residence. Deeply afraid that the young lady was given to his master while he was outside. But that doesn't matter now, because after all these years, the young master finally opened up to someone. Prepare a medicinal bath, dispatch a female bone person to attend to her and give me a good clean-up of this woman. This servant obeys. Warm water moistened her skin, cleansing each part of her body. Since crossing over to this world, all she have done is killing a giant wolf, finishing the 3 people that tossed her body, washed her impurities in the lake that almost took her life from the ruthless pain, and finally fighting a terrible man. The meridians that were tense earlier haven't been so relaxed like this before. But God clearly does not want Mu Qian to relax. Her whole body still isn't good, and because in front of her eyes a supernatural thing is happening. A bloody red skeleton is standing in front of her, with hollow eyes that are filled with purple flames. If it is a normal woman, she already has screamed when she saw this scene. Mu Qian tries to calm her own little frightened heart, looking around for any signs of Ashura. She is clearly not affected by the skeleton but was truly afraid that the horrible man would appear and take her life. It was a room with a dark red tone, and it felt like it matched that man's temperament. It seemed that the man did not kill her after she fainted but also did not send her back to Mu Jia's residence. Instead he brought her to his home. After Mu Qian finished bathing, the red skeleton brought her a new dress. The skeleton walked towards Mu Qian ready to assist her on putting on the clothes. With a skeleton people using as a maid, that man is too abnormal. Mu Qian waved her hands saying, "I will wear it myself, you should retire first." Although the skeleton did not speak, it could understand the words of Mu Qian. When the clothes were handed to Mu Qian, the skeleton withdraws. The texture of the purple dress is really soft, embroidered with a big flower of a red spider lily. The embroidery is truly beautiful and perfect. It seems that in her memory, this local tyrant did not experience to wear such exquisite clothes like this. Mu Qian put her clothes on, then prepared herself to escape. But there are all kinds of skeletons patrolling everywhere. The purple flames in their eyes is like a wildfire. Such a scene, it's like she's Ning in 100 Ghosts Parade tonight. Mu Qian knows that is absolutely impossible to escape. For now, she can only stay here. Cultivate. Become stronger. Mu Qian returned to her room and remembered that the enchanting youth had given her something before she was tossed outside the pavilion. This is a cultivation method. She recites the words in her mind. Opposing the gods, the primordial chaos, covers all living things. In a split second, the entire Purple Moon Country's chi is rushing towards her room. Inside Ju Yi's room, looking at the strange phenomenon happening outside, without any fluctuation in his eyes, after a short while he lazily closes it again. The next day, at sunrise, Mu Qian exhaled a mouthful of impurities. There's a sparkle in her eyes as she smiled. The 3rd stage spirit warrior, in just one night of cultivation, unexpectedly she succeeded in reaching the 3rd stage spirit warrior. Not only the 3rd stage spirit warrior but she also reached the 3rd stage martial warrior. Owing to the secrets of the gods, she now has the ability to cultivate just like other practitioners in this country. In this world, the spiritual stage is divided into 3 ranks, namely Spirit Warrior, Spirit Master, and Spirit King. The martial stage is also divided into Martial Warrior, Martial Knight, and Martial King. In the memory of Mu Qian, there is only one genius in the family, and that is the granddaughter of the great elders of the Mu Jia, Mu Ruyan. At the age of 17, she reached the 7th stage Spirit Warrior and was ranked as the first talented woman of the Purple Moon Country. In the Purple Moon's genius list she ranked 2nd. But she became a 3rd stage Spirit Warrior in one night. The so-called Mu Jia's only genius. She really doesn't know where the genius is. Ugly woman, don't be too pleased on your result. You have just been washed by the fresh water of the life lake, and if the talent is not high enough a disaster will happen. Now try to escape. You can't let me fall into the hands of others. The voice suddenly said into her ear. With a frown Mu Qian said. Now you're afraid. Tell me, when I was almost killed by Ashura yesterday, where are you? He explained. When we met before, I just woke up but didn't have enough power, thus immediately fell asleep. Because you've practiced the method I gave you, with a little power, I woke up again. Millimeter. But how to escape? Mu Qian murmured. She does not feel that even if she turned into a 3rd stage spirit warrior now, that she can finally escape from that terrible man. It depends on how you think about it. Your strength is too weak. I only recovered a little bit, so I can't help you. Her strength is too weak. Want to rely on this spiritual power to escape? It is simply a fantasy. Only. A little light flashed in the eyes of Mu Qian. She shouts to the skeleton that kept waiting outside, "You come here." The skeleton was obedient. As it stands in front of her, Mu Qian asked, "Is there a medicine storehouse here?" The skeleton nodded, and then turned away. Mu Qian's face was heavy. She thought that this skeleton will take her to the medicine storehouse, but did not think that it will go to its master to report. The skeleton did not look for its master but turned to housekeeper Bai. "Master, the woman you brought back last night is in need of medicine. She's asking for permission to enter the medicine storehouse." "Allow her," a cold voice came. "Yes." This servant obeys. 100 Ghosts Parade Tonight. A short by Xia Jiao was published for the first time in 2012 and translated to English by Ken Liu. Ning is a child who is growing up under the strict protection of the monk in Ghost Street, where he's the only real person in the midst of a group of ghosts. Qi, the vital energy which exists in all things. Qi is sometimes written as Qi or Kai. It can be translated in many different ways, including breath, vital breath, pneuma, vital energy, spiritual energy, etc., ranks, levels, layers, Ji, Seng, a common way to quantify martial power or the progress made in cultivation. In many cases, although not all, where these are used, there are 9 ranks, levels, layers to each stage of cultivation, with rank 1 being the start and rank 9 being the peak. After breaking through to the next stage, the Pract. Itayana starts at rank 1 of that new stage. Spirit Warrior, Spirit Master, Spirit King, Martial Warrior, Martial Knight, Martial King. Yup. This chapter is really confusing at email protected. Apology of the cold Ashura. Mu Qian saw an old man with white hair walking towards her and breathed a great sigh of relief. At least, it's not that guy. Housekeeper Bai laughed at her simple action and introduced himself in a friendly manner. "Young lady, I am the steward here. You can just call me Housekeeper Bai. The master is a quiet person, so here in addition to the master, only I am a human being, and I hope the lady wouldn't mind." Mu Qian's mouth twitches slightly. He likes to be quiet. So he's willing to have a certain group of people that can't talk to attend to him? That man is too scary, too extreme. She must find a way to get out of here immediately. Mu Qian secretly pondered. Mu Qian asked politely, "Do you have medicinal herbs here? If there is also a refining room, it would be so much better. The General Noble family will be dedicated to the refining pharmacist, but here she's not too certain. There are too few humans here and having a pharmacist isn't really necessary." Housekeeper Bai said, "Although we don't have a pharmacist in our residence, we still have a refining room. May young lady follow me." Mu Qian walked into the refining room, a variety of conventional herbs, a lot of medical pills and elixirs, and there are also a lot of cauldrons and pill furnaces. This is simply the perfect refining place. I really want to stay here for a long time. But thinking about the man of Ashura, she don't want to get her hopes up. Housekeeper Bai guided her to the room. Mu Qian said with a smile, "You may retire first." Housekeeper Bai left her alone in the room and quietly closed the door. "Oh my god. There are so many herbs here." Mu Qian's excitement reached a whole new level that another person can't keep up. "Ugly woman, you have such a little ambition. These are just some ordinary herbs. To be happy for such simple things like this, really embarrass. Sing." A sarcastic voice came. "Little pavilion, can you handle keeping this herbs in your space? There's no body here anyway." Mu Qian raised her eyebrows. When he heard her call him little, he almost wanted to go outside and strangle this woman. "My name is Ting, not Little Pavilion." Mu Qian counters. "My name is Mu Qian, not ugly woman." Humph. Humph. After the bickering, this beautiful youth no longer cares about Mu Qian, and Mu Qian, well, due no longer hearing unnecessary comments, began to concentrate on prescribing drugs. There are pharmacists and refining pharmacist, alchemist, in this world. The pharmacists are capable on treating common illness and refine some simple medicines. The refining pharmacists can refine the medicinal herbs. The medicinal herbs are very precious in this world, so the ident of the refining pharmacists is exceptionally high. She is very interested in this world's alchemy, but the most important thing is to escape from this ghost place first. She can refine elixirs and poisons, these can become a magic weapon for her escape. Mu Qian devoted herself wholeheartedly in refining of pharmaceutical agents and poisons. Housekeeper Bai did not bother her, but sent a skeleton to send a hearty meal every while. This refinement period continued for 3 days. 3 days later, Mu Qianxi looked at the elixirs, pills, and poison powders that are placed on the table. The corners of the mouth evoked an evil smile. Beautiful man, I have prepared a gift for you. I hope you will like it. Putting away her own medicines and poisons, Mu Qian went out. Housekeeper Bai hurriedly came over and asked, "Young lady, you finally came out? You stayed in the refining room for 3 days, I am really afraid that you'll starve yourself in there." Mu Qian opened the gate to see the mountains outside and said, "I want to leave." She has her own set of proprieties to do in the Mu Jiao after all. According to the memories of the previous body owner, Mu Qian obviously does not need to worry too much. Housekeeper Bai answered truthfully, "Young lady, the person that brought you back is the master. If you want to leave, you must get the master permission first." "All right, take me to see him." "Good." At this time, Ju Yi is drinking tea in the yard. Hearing footsteps approaching, he lifted his eyes slightly, his eyes falling on the body of Mu Qian who came over. It was faded out from the vulgar golden dress and replaced with a purple dress, which made her appearance elegant, not a hair out of place. The skin is white like snow, the facial features are pretty as a painting, and the dark eyes are sharp and clear. Mu Qian also looked at him. That night, she didn't clearly see this man's features, but today, it really is a beautiful demon-like face. The coldness of the eyes that made people dare not approach, just like 1,000 years of ice statue. "I want to leave here, can you let me go?" Mu Qianxi said, and the momentum is compelling. She originally thought that this man would refuse, after all, she still has a treasure, the Eternal Pavilion, Chaos Jiuzhong Pavilion. However, she did not think that his thin lips were lightly opened, and he even spit out a good word. When Mu Qian wanted to leave, he easily agreed to let her go. "The poisons she prepared has not been sent out yet," Mu Qianxi said. "Then I will go." Just as Mu Qianxi turned around, Ju Yi stood up slowly and walked towards her and said, "Halt." Mu Qian's back was stiff, she knew that this man will not let her go. She put the poison powder in her hands once more and is ready to shoot at any time. Ju Yi stands in front of Mu Qian, suddenly grabbed her hand, took out a ring carved with a water blue gem, and put it on her ring finger. "My apologies." He said this sentence with a very stiff tone. He apologized. Mu Qian wanted to leave and doesn't want to meet him again, thus decided to take the ring off and return it, saying, "I accept your apology, but I will never accept the ring." "Stupid. You're really stupid. Hurry up and take it. This ring is one of the eternal artifacts, the eternal ring, water god dragon ring." "What? This is an eternal artifact?" And he gave it away like that, making Mu Qian dumbfounded. That night, wasn't he going to kill her for the Eternal Pavilion? Now, he had given an artifact that is comparable to the Eternal Pavilion to her just like that. It's too ridiculous. At this time, Mu Qian wanted to break his head and see what was going on in his mind. You can't refuse, otherwise, die. The killing intent in that pair of cold blue eyes is definitely not a joke. Ah Ting yelled at her, "If you don't accept it, I will die with you. Don't you what's good for you? Are you really that stupid?" Mu Qian's mouth is twitching, and she really can't stand these two. She slowly said, "No matter what reason you gave this ring to me, but still, thank you." After the unexpected event with Ju Yi, Mu Qian quickly left his residence. According to the memories in her mind, she finally found the location of Mu Jiao. As soon as she turned over the wall, Mu Qian heard the sound of wails and mourning. There are white banners everywhere and the whole family members wore white clothes. As she goes in, Mu Qian heard that the cries become fiercer. A white banner was placed over the door of the household. In the main courtyard of the Mujia, a mourning hall was placed. Inside was a female voice crying her heart out, "Oh, Lord, you are so miserable." Mu Qian's delicate face, was instantly distorted. It's been 3 days since Mu Qian was dumped into the Ma's grave. It seems that her family thought she was dead, and had set up a mourning hall for her, in order to fool the people outside. And the corpse, where did the elders get it? She wants to see the scene that they've played out first. The people outside were crying miserably, but upon entering the hall the air is cold and miserable. Actually it's not that cold, for there was someone inside. Her servant girl is still in the hall. But the girl in pale pink dress quietly opened the coffin to take things inside. Lord, since you don't have any bones left, the elders can only put your robe inside. They've also put your good things to accompany you in your death. But do you remember what you've promised me when you're still alive? You said that you will reward me, so instead of wasting these treasures to be buried with you, why not just give all of these to me? While she spoke, she took out some gold and silver jewelry and stuffed it into her sleeves. At this time a reverberating voice came. Since your lord is so good to you, why don't you join her in Hell instead, and see how many treasures you would have? Lu Yi heard the familiar voice and instantly gets a chill. She cried while kneeling, explaining, Lord, I don't want to die. Please, I don't want to die yet. Don't take me with you. It's not me who killed you but Miss Ouyang. You should go to her. I'm begging you. Is that how you want me to die? A purple figure jumped down and stood in front of her. Lu Yi looked up and saw a familiar face, screaming, Ghost! Cough, cough, cough. A pair of slender hands grabbed her throat. Mu Qian warned her. Don't shout. If you try to scream again, I'll break your neck! Exclamation point. Like throwing a rag, Mu Qian throws the little girl away. She was unable to get up from the fall, and shrank herself in the corner, shivering with trepidation, and looks at Mu Qian. Just when the Lord had grabbed her neck, she clearly felt a temperature that means the Lord is not dead. But now, her Lord is completely different from the past. She is not as weak and timid as she used to be, but dangerous and ruthless instead. Is she really their Lord? Lord, please have mercy on me. I usually steal jewelry but never in my life that I dared to hurt you. This time, sounds of footsteps are approaching. Mu Qian gestures Lu Yi to be silent and ordered. Continue your crying here, and act as if you didn't see me. Let's see who else has the heart to pray for the Lord today. Mu Qian hid herself in the coffin after. Lu Yi did not dare to disobey her orders. In a moment, a woman wearing pink dress rushed over, saying, Little sister. How can you leave me? We are sisters. If you're dead, I also do not want to live. This psychopath. Mu Qian blocked her ears, so as not to be poisoned by her fake cries. She's crying so much, sounding like she had lost a dear old friend. She remembered that the affections of the previous Mu Qian for her fiancé, who's decreed by the emperor, was always ignored due to his preference for this white lotus. At that moment, a man wearing brocade robe gently holds on to the woman in pink. Looking at the woman in front of his eyes with tears and pitiful appearance, his heart melts. He said softly, She's dead. She will never come back. Don't cry, it will only hurt your body. But I will never see my little sister again. For me, we are more than sisters. Now that she's dead, Mu Ruyan said as she burst out crying. Shenyuan Li Tian stared at the coffin and looked up at the sky, his heart full of resentment. Mu Qian, this waste material, not only does she make people disgusted when alive, but also causing her sister to cry so much like this simply makes people hate her even in death. There is no way that she will understand Yang feelings. Shenyuan Li Tian shouted loudly. Come. Send the gift from the emperor to Lord Mu. 8 big men, carrying a jade coffin came in. The jade coffin was embellished with countless precious gems and pearls that the value can't be described. Qian are always like gorgeous things. The wood coffin is too simple, the jade coffin is more appropriate. Mu Qian is my fiancée after all. Even if she's dead, I want her to have a comfortable rest. The 2 elders are grateful. Thank you, Your Highness. Mu Ruyan smiled and said, From the day you've become my future brother-in-law, you are really good to my sister. If she's here, she will be very touched. Mu Qian, who is hiding in the dark, sneered. Today if she really died, if this dazzling jade coffin was lifted out from the residence, I'm afraid she will be ruined the next day and probably will make a history for the most luxurious waist that has ever lived in the Purple Moon country. For the emperor who gifted this, she really doesn't have any good impression of him. Shenyuan Li Tian continues. Elders, 3 years ago, the emperor decreed a marriage for this prince towards the only daughter of the Mujiao, but didn't think that she wouldn't become my princess consort and would suffer a bad luck. Truthfully, I am really sad. With a sad expression, as he said with a tone like he really wanted to marry Mu Qian. Now that Qian'er is gone, still I do not want to be an unrighteous person. I will never cancel this marriage contract. Qian'er and Yang'er are like sisters. If Yang'er can replace Qian'er to marry me, then I'm sure Qian'er will be happy and will bless us both. Little sister, I will not disappoint you. I would take good care of brother Li Tian. May you bless us with happiness. Is the pinyin for the word, simplified, meaning child. The use of this word as a diminutive marker is more prevalent in Mandarin. The fake lotus appears, and the scum fiancé. Both are really sickening. Bleg. Love and affection. Mu Qian smirked. What a good pair of dirty scum bag and white lotus. Really a perfect match. At her own funeral, they had planned a marriage, and in order to make it more natural, they've prepared this kind of wonderful drama to appear righteous and virtuous. He. Your Royal Highness, you are leaving this lord in the lurch. Don't be in such a rush on finding a new wife. The cold voice, like an evil spirit, speaks in a clear and mocking manner and doesn't give the prince any face at all. Who? Show yourself this instant. Don't pretend to be a ghost inside Qian'er Mourning Hall. Li Tian exclaimed. Mu Qian's coffin swayed and a purple figure comes out slowly. Everyone saw the face that was a little familiar, and they peeved on what they saw. Ghost. We've been deceived. For a time, Mu Qian's appearance threw everyone in the hall into confusion. Mu Ruyun stared at Mu Qian, and hesitantly asked. Elevener, is it really you, Elevener? Mu Qian didn't answer, instead turned to look at her servant. Lu Yi, kindly remind me. Does Mu Ruyun have the right to call my name, and not addressing me as Lord is considered to be inappropriate? Yes. Lu Yi, who was beaten earlier, shook like a leaf. Shenyuan Li Tian can't stand Mu Qian's rude behavior towards Mu Ruyun and rebuked at her inquiry. Hey, haven't you had enough? You pretended to be dead, letting your sister feel sad for you, and almost cried her eyes out, and now, you are bullying her. Even though I know that you're a waste, I hadn't thought that you're this vicious. Mu Qian sneered, coming from His Royal Highness. Please don't take pity on me at my own place. In this residence I am the Lord, and Mu Ruyun is merely a lowly person, that's all, nothing more. You really shouldn't rub other people's wound like that, you know. Mu Ruyun's face is turning white at each passing moment. Upon meeting Mu Qian the first time in Mu Jiao's residence, due to having similar age, she developed a good relationship with her. Her eating and drinking is comparable to the princesses of the Purple Moon country. However, her grandfather, although known as one of the elders, is still a slave to the family. She will always have the lower ident. I tie when placed next to Mu Qian. She refuses to accept this fact. Why? Because she is better than Mu Qian in all aspect, but because of her ident. I tie, she must suck. UMB to Mu Qian. If Mu Qian wanted someone, she can let the emperor decree a marriage for her, and she can only watch his beloved man to take Mu Qian as his wife. Mu Qian had already died. Why did she have to live again? Then stealing her brother Li Tian again from her like before. Shenyuan coldly said. Mu Qian, Yuna has always treated you as a sister. It turns out that in your eyes she is just a stranger. I really misread you. Whether you are dead or alive, today I want to tell you, never in my life will I marry you. I will take Yuna as my wife. Even though she is not from the main family, but with her gentle temperament, good cultivation, and talent, how can you compare? There was uproar. The crowd suddenly thought that Mu Qian being alive is a good thing, but did not expect that the prince would withdraw himself from their marriage at this time. With the degree of affection the Lord has towards this prince, suddenly breaking up their marriage like this, the Lord will get really mad, is what they've believed. Mu Qian laughed at his jokes and stated the fact clearly. Leaving the decree of the emperor aside, you want to withdraw from our marriage and get married to another. Did you really think you have this ability? Shenyuan is a fool. This marriage is considered to be the greatest gift that he will ever receive from his father emperor. Although he is a prince, in the eyes of his father, he is completely inferior to be the husband of the only daughter of the Mujio who controls the economic side of the Purple Moon country. Without her insisting on this marriage, his father wouldn't think of making a decree for their marriage at all. At this time, Mu Ruyun reluctantly walked in front of Mu Qian. With a helpless tone she said, "Lord, I didn't think that you have always looked at me like that. I always thought you as a kind person, and it is my great honor to treat someone like you as a sister. But I really love brother Li Tian, please. This is my only wish, I hope you will understand." When finished, Mu Ruyun wanted to kneel, but Shen Yuan hurriedly took her away. "Yuna, you don't have to ask this despicable and shameless woman for permission, even if she is the Mu Jia's lord, so what? I only love you and that will never change." Shen Yuan looked at Mu Ruyun with deep affection. "Brother Li Tian," Mu Ruyun smiled sweetly at him and stood up reluctantly. Li Tian looked at Mu Qian's direction and said, "Qianna, there are some words I have never said to you, because I'm afraid of hurting your feelings, but today you are really too much, that I think it's better to say this now than never. You have no apartment I-tude with spiritual training, even lacks talent in martial arts. You always dress provocatively, and your face that always looks like—" He stopped talking midway as he tried to get a good look of Mu Qian. "Well, why don't you continue? Do you think that there's another person here that can match with this lord?" Mu Qian taunted and laughed while revealing herself in the light. Everyone in the morning hall looked at the face of Mu Qian. With just a little makeup, she already won countless of hearts. The face of the previous lord was always covered with all kinds of thick rouge that not looked good. But they did not think that after removing all those makeup, there would be such a difference. Mu Qian's appearance is exquisite and flawless. The dazzling brilliance among her pitch-black eyes is really bewitching. Is this still their owner? Shen Yuan saw the beautiful woman with an evil spirit in front of his eyes. Mu Ruyun's nails were dug deep into her flesh. She always knew that Mu Qian was very beautiful, so she tried every means to cover her beautiful face with a variety of rouge powder to avoid being seen by the prince. But she did not think that Mu Qian would actually expose her face today, not only exposed, but it seems that this face is a lot more beautiful than before. She found that Shen Yuan Li Tian was stunned, thus, Mu Ruyun shouted his name pitifully. "Brother Li Tian." Shen Yuan Li Tian finally returned to his senses and said coldly, "Beauty is only skin deep. Your strength will never catch up with Yuna." "Oh really? Never catch up?" A glimmer of light flashed in Mu Ruyun's eyes, and asked softly, "Is the Lord not convinced?" Mu Qian, this person, she knows her too well, she always liked to win. If she forced Mu Qian to fight her, and accidentally killed her in the process, the funeral could continue as well. Too many dialogues in this chapter. And too many bitches too. Yeah, I'm talking to you, Li Tian. Of course, she's not convinced. This kind of waste, is there anyone who's worse than the Lord? Someone in the crowd quietly said. Everyone sighs, although the appearance of the Lord had become exceptionally good. However, wastes are wastes, and idiots are idiots. Miss Mu Ruyun is a famous genius of the Purple Moon country. She became a 5th-stage martial warrior at the age of 17. How can this lord compare to her? Mu Ruyun proudly said, "Today, for my brother Li Tian, I want to make a gamble with the Lord, would you permit it?" Mu Qian slightly raised her eyebrows. "You want to gamble with me? Let's hear it first. I want to have a match with the Lord. If Mu Jia's Lord beat me, I will leave the residence and never appear before brother Li Tian again, and he will voluntarily marry you. But if I win, may Mu Jia's Lord forget the past with his highness, and agree to dissolve your marriage immediately." Li Tian is worried as he reminds Mu Ruyun, "Yuna, you don't have to do this for me. If you continue on gambling with this thrash, even if you win, your reputation outside will not be good." Mu Ruyun softly responded, "In order to live with you in the future, I'm willing to do everything. Only in this way can brother Li Tian restore his freedom. When we marry, I will be good to you." Shen Yuan gently held Mu Ruyun's hands as he stated his promise. "All right. Since this is not just playing a game anymore, this lord agrees to your conditions. If you won, we'll follow with what you've said. But if I won? She smirked and announced. Mu Ruyun, you must promise me one thing. Good. Mu Ruyun agreed without thinking, because she believed in herself that she would not lose. It's crowded here, let's go out then fight. Mu Qian walked to the open space outside. All the people were stunned, almost all of them believe that Mu Qian is digging her own grave, and her mind is still lacking. She is one of the best wastes ever known. She don't possess any qi, cannot practice martial arts, and she still wants to compete with a genius like Mu Ruyun. Isn't that just looking for abuse? Mu Ruyun went in front of Mu Qian and declared, I will take the shot first, Lord, you can't be too careful. The long sword is sharp and fast, like a viper, generally rushing to Mu Qian. However, the sword she used did not even see the corner of the Lord's clothes. Everyone wiped their eyes and could not believe what they just saw. How is this possible? Mu Qian did not have any force and spiritual fluctuations, but she escaped the sword of Mu Ruyun. Mu Ruyun also had an ugly expression. She is always together with Mu Qian. She is weak and timid, she of all people, knows that fact. However, when did her speed become so fast? Mu Ruyun's moves have become fierce, clearly pushing Mu Qian to her death. The second move, the third move, the fourth move. Mu Ruyun is sweating so much at this time, no matter how much she wanted to stab Mu Qian, her sword always fall behind. All the people watching were surprised that they unconsciously opened their mouths. Is this lord really a waste? Mu Ruyun's eyes flashed a glimmer of light, and the power of the fifth stage martial warrior broke out completely, preparing to give Mu Qian's fatal blow. However, her tricks have not yet been made. A miracle happened. Mu Qian appeared on her side like a ghost. Her hands are like steel that is clamped on her wrist. You, let go of me. Mu Ruyun roared with a cold sweat on her forehead and Rs-eness in her voice. Arth. Mu Qian gently twisted her hand, making Mu Ruyun's wrist break. It hurts. Mu Ruyu screamed, her face was pale as paper, making Shenyuan Li Tian anxious and distressed. He yelled. Mu Qian, you already won and Mu Ruyun have lost. Yet you still have to do such poisonous schemes. You are too vicious. Mu Qian looked innocently at him and said, I am afraid His Highness is wrong. In fact, this lord has always been very kind. The vicious one here is clearly this person. Mu Qian loosened her hand. In Mu Ruyun's sleeve a poisoned dagger slipped out and fell into her hand. This dagger was meant to stab the heart of Mu Qian. Ah. But she hasn't stabbed the heart of Mu Qian yet her other hand has been intercepted by Mu Qian. Mu Qian directly crushed her bones. There's no need for discussions. Clang. The dagger fell to the ground. Mu Qian smiled. See, compare to her I am really kind, sneaking an attack like this even I can't do it. Shenyuan Li Tian is proven wrong. He could not believe that the gentle beauty like Mu Ruyun can actually hurt people with sinister means like this. But looking at the weak, bloodless face of Mu Ruyun, Shenyuan still decided to maintain a space between them. Mu Ruyun felt the hesitation in the prince's eyes and confessed. If you are not too malicious, how would I dare to do this? Mu Ruyun said in a painful way. Brother Li Tian, please, save me. With broken hands, the pain she is experiencing felt she was close to dying. She really don't know where Mu Qian learned such a lethal means. Shenyuan Li Tian frowned at Mu Ruyun and said. This game, Mu Qian, you have won. This prince will promise to marry you, but you have to let Yuna go. Mu Qian's hand loosened from her grip. Mu Ruyun's body that is like a rag was thrown aside. Get out. Thud. Shenyuan catches Mu Ruyun carefully, then shouted. Hurry, someone call a pharmacist. Mu Qianxi slowly walked in the front of Shenyuan Li Tian and reminded him. I will return her to you. Now that the matter is over, we should talk about the things between the two of us. The flawless face is close and upon seeing her dark eyes, instills his heart with a bit of confusion. The black color really left Shenyuan in a daze. He coughed and asked, talk about the things between us. Could it be that you wanted to get married soon with this prince? If that's the case, I can consider this matter. Brother Li Tian, seeing Shenyuan being swayed towards Mu Qian's beauty, Mu Ruyun shouted half dead. Seeing such an alluring beauty had aroused the heart of Shenyuan Li Tian, causing her to worry. He said he wanted to marry me, you clearly saw that earlier, he already have made his promise to me, yet you think you have beat me? In your dreams. Mu Ruyun's eyes glared at her and silently made a vow. Mu Qian, I will never let you get what you want. What a really good white lotus. And a narcissistic prince. Who do you think you are? I am the lord of the Mujur, I don't need anyone's permission in order to marry another. She turned as she talked again to the prince. Prince Li Tian, you've really broadened my knowledge. You may be the head of the family, but the woman I only love is Yuna. Li Tian said with a smug look. Mu Qian's mouth is filled with a playful smile. I could not bear to break you two lovebirds up, since your highness is deeply in love, care to have a bet for the woman you love? Bet what? The women you love just lost to a bet with me earlier, now I'm willing to have another bet with you. If I lose, then I will absolutely let the emperor cancel our marriage contract, and let you marry someone you love. If you lose, lay yourself in that jade coffin as you go back to the palace. Mu Qian casually said. This. Shenyuan Li Tian is astonished, but if he won it will be a great advantage for him, he can finally get rid of this woman. Although she's a little different today, but this woman loves him so much that it's impossible to have change of heart. I'm afraid she knew how much I love Yuna and choose this way to get back at me. I mean in the future, when I marry Yuna, I'll just make it up to her. As for losing, how could he lose to her? Shenyuan Li Tian finally gave an answer. Okay, I promise you. Elders, you have heard all of it, right? If someone decided to break the contract, you may testify. Otherwise, Mujur really raised such ungrateful animals. Yes. No matter what the result is, no one can break the contract. Shenyuan Li Tian added. This is of course. The three elders laughed nervously. Let's start. Shenyuan Li Tian is eager to solve this thing quickly as possible. Good. You can start first, I don't want to bully you. In that case. A purple figure flash. Mu Qian, she didn't hesitate to land a deadly attack towards him. Fast. Shenyuan is astonished. In order to avoid Mu Qian's attack, all his strength broke out. The elders around exclaimed, the 5th stage spirit warrior, Li Tian is really worthy to be one of the 10 genius in our Purple Moon country, young enough to have such cultivation. One elder replied, although I don't know how she suddenly has such a strange speed, but in the face of absolute strength, she will lose. Even if they are the elders of the family, but they have long been disdain for this disgraced lord. They, who had to live under such a person, obey her orders and made a sacrifice for her is really intolerable. Shenyuan Li Tian chased Mu Qian. Mu Qian still has a long way to go, with just the power of 3rd stage spirit and martial warrior, winning against Shenyuan who is in the 5th stage spirit warrior that is 2 stages above her are still a bit tricky. Mu Qian's hand moved. The powder in her sleeves was caught in the palm of her hand. Since Shenyuan Li Tian sent her a jade coffin from the palace, she also did not mind to return the gift to him. This time a murmur came out. Hey, ugly woman, you can beat him outright, why bother with this little trick? This voice is really unbearable, but only one person heard it, Mu Qian asked. Oh really, I just practiced for 1 day, the strength is 2 stages lower than him. Tell me, how can I defeat him easily? You received the Eternal Ring, Water Dragon God Ring. Is it possible that you only think of it as a simple token of affection from the man who gave it to you? A black line appeared on Mu Qian's face. You shut up. What token of love? No matter how much you get angry and embarrass. Said. Even though that great uncle really didn't speak about it, it's impossible for you not to notice it. Mu Qian thought this guy can really make people mad just by using words alone. Fortunately she's careless enough, else Shenyuan Li Tian might already have hurt her. Tear. Luckily, she had hid herself swiftly and took the ring out of her clothes. Hurry, there is a fast way to activate it, don't dawdle here. Listen to me very carefully as we don't have much time, use your chi as a medium to communicate to the Water Dragon God Ring. Then you can mobilize the power of the water inside for your use. You can make mincemeat out of a 5th stage even if you are now only in 3rd stage, how could he be your opponent? I'll believe you this time. Chenna, admit your defeat. Shenyuan Li Tian's threatening force came over, with the strength of the fifth-stage spirit warrior advancing towards Mu Qian holding a sharp blade to strike. In accordance to the method of Ah Ting, she mobilized the power within the water dragon God ring. In a flash, a wall of blue water blocked the sword rushing past her. In front of the water wall, the archaic blade is completely vulnerable. With just a single blow it broke. Mu Qian's shield came as a bolt from the blue. What the heck happened? What is this? Mu Qian. Mu Qian seems to have the strength of the third-stage spirit warrior and also has the water spiritual roots. Damn. Is Mu Qian really a waste? She even became a third-stage spirit warrior, and that. It's clearly a water element. In the entire 6 paths of reincarnation, in the world of martial arts, spiritual roots figuratively are the very foundation, roots, of one's body and soul. Associated with a person's innate talent and elemental affinities. The majority of cultivators that has the talent to have spiritual roots are too few. Among the tens of millions of cultivators, almost only one can master his or her element effectively. Rare individuals may even have special spiritual roots which allow them to cultivate quickly or grant them other benefits. How did this happen? Shenyuan Li Tian froze, forgetting that at this time he is still in a match. 6 paths of reincarnation, Liudao Luanhui. In the cycle of reincarnation, it is possible to be reborn as either a. 1. Deva, 2. Asura, 3. Human, 4. Animal, 5. Hungry ghost or 6. A tormented being in HL. Sorry for the late upload. I just got back from the church. Lost but refusing to accept the bill. Mu Qian. She is not a waste but also has spiritual roots. The Purple Moon country only had 2 people who had spiritual roots before, and nobody expected that another one will appear today. And this person is his fiancé. If only Shenyuan Li Tian known earlier that Mu Qian is not a waste, a stunning beauty without makeup. Added with the fact that she is the lord of the Mu Jiao that is famous for being rich and invincible, marrying her is really not so bad. As for Yuna, letting her become his secondary princess consort is also not good. She is the only granddaughter of the second elder of the Mu Jiao. He won't let her become a concubine. Just when Shenyuan Li Tian is getting further and further to reality, Mu Qian raised her hand and declared, "Prince Li Tian, it is time for us to end this battle." Water slash. The water wall instantly became a long dragon, like a living creature, rushed to Shenyuan Li Tian. The speed is quick that it was too late for him to resist. Boom. Shenyuan Li Tian body flew out and fiercely landed on the ground. Crash. The water burst. Shenyuan Li Tian, who was in the center, was mad as a wet hen and looks like a fish out from the water in general. He who always maintains his proud profile is really embarrassed, said at his pitiful appearance at this moment. The crowd was alarmed. Mu Qian, who was once a waste, have won against one of the 10 geniuses, the 7th prince. It is not often that Mu Ruyun sees his brother Li Tian this hurt. She shouted anxiously, "Brother Li Tian, don't move." Yuna, don't worry, I'm fine, but 2 people who are full of affections towards each other is flirting like there's no tomorrow. Mu Qian has no desire to let this disgusting couple continue their actions inside her residence. She ordered, "Prince, you've lost, time to settle the bill. I admit that this prince has lost. I will leave immediately." "All right." Mu Qian laughed. "Guards, come here. Put away the prince in the coffin and return him to the palace." Shenyuan Li Tian froze and angrily said, "Mu Qian, what do you mean? Don't be too presumptuous. This is our bet, remember? If you lose, then we will put you inside the coffin, else who do you want to put in there? Is there any prince here aside from you? Mu Qian, you are clearly pushing this prince to do your bidding. Just because this prince doesn't like you, you'll set me up like this. What's the matter with you? Is it possible you're backing out now? If His Highness is going to break our contract, I don't mind sending you off personally into the jade coffin you prepared." Mu Qian said seriously. As Mu Qian slowly approached Shenyuan Li Tian, a cold light flashed in his eyes. "Mu Qian, don't blame me for being unrighteous. It is you who is highly thinking of yourself. Help! She is planning to kill me. This prince orders you to take her down." From the side of Prince and Mu Jia's guards, a group of hidden guards instantly appeared and surrounded Mu Qian. This Mu Qian is too evil, inexplicably turned into a third-stage spirit warrior, also having spiritual roots. If he wanted to remove her completely, the prince decided that he must go all out. From the prince's bodyguards, 3 people are 5th-stage martial warrior while the remaining 6 people are higher than her by a level. This is her home, but with the order of the prince, all members of the Mu Jia turned a blind eye, completely disregarding her safety at all. Mu Qian's mouth brought a touch of sneer. "Prince, I was going to let you off today, but since you are looking for death, then I don't need to be polite anymore." Mu Ruyun softly said. "Elevener, don't be stubborn and apologize to the prince. What happened today will not be exposed outside." Shenyuan Li Tian roared, "Mu Qian Shi, you're dead to me. I'll make sure today that this prince will give you a painful lesson." Even if Mu Qian beat him, it's impossible to beat so many people. "Fuck, this bitch and ugly woman. You can poison them to your heart's content," Ting furiously said in her mind. As her contractor, he is aware of Mu Qian's nature. Although it is not clear what is the role of those drugs in the end, but seeing her making it wholeheartedly and successfully, presumably to solve these slags, is more than enough. Shenyuan Li Tian was in rage at Mu Qian, but Mu Ruyun's drama continues as she begs for mercy. "Brother Li Tian, please don't be angry. Elevener just don't understand. Can't you just let her go?" Shenyuan Li Tian sighed. "Yuna, don't be like this. Too much kindness will only hurt you in the end. For such a cruel woman like her, your kindness will only encourage her to bully you more." Seeing Mu Ruyun's gravely injured white face, Shenyuan Li Tian's heart is in pain. Ting yelled, "I can't watch anymore. I'm closing contact with the outside world and will directly go to sleep. You give them HL alright. Play them hard." Even though their first meeting made him mad, but today, with her attitude, it is very in sync to his appet. So he told her how to use the water dragon god ring. Maybe more surprises will come in the future. She swept through the guards around her, saying, "I'll give you 3 seconds to stop me, otherwise you will all be waiting for your master to collect your body." The guards and the hidden guards froze a little, then laughed. "Ha ha ha. The Lord, although you are still not dead, but we are here, ready to put you in the casket, will kindly send you a ride to HL." Mu Qian's complexion doesn't look good, but this lord certainly has her secret weapon. In Mu Qian's hand, she had mixed all kinds of poison. With just a wave, these people will be finished. But just when she was about to strike, an elegant voice came. "In the end, who dares disturb my Elevener's morning hall? I'll make sure you'll accompany her in death." As he laughed painfully. The sound of the first half of the sentence was moist as jade, as if people felt a gentle spring breeze. But did not think of the last words, "suddenly become cold, instantly let people fall into the ice." Even Ting calls Li Tian a bitch, bwahaha. And finally my favorite man appears. Fangirling intensifies. He is the best. The few guards who heard the laughter suddenly vomited blood and fell one by one on the ground. More than a dozen guards in an instant had fallen. Shenyuan Li Tian felt an inexplicable shiver ran down his spine. The remaining few guards hurriedly blocked themselves in front of him, not letting the guy harm the prince in the slightest. If push comes to shove, they will fight till death. In a moment, the yard was filled with silence that even a drop of needle could be heard. Sound of wheels is heard. As the sound gets closer, a white figure slowly appeared in the line of sight of Mu Qian. An elegant man wearing snow-white clothes without any stain or dust appeared. A flawless face that can compare to a jade. His hair that flows like a waterfall was tied in a simple way as if he was a messenger of God. Such a perfect man, sitting on the wheelchair as he pushed it with his hands to come over. He looked up slightly to face the crowd and stopped once as he saw Mu Qian Shi, pushing his wheelchair to reach her side. Mu Qian saw the pair of eyes under the thick eyelashes that were filled with traces of sadness. "Little uncle," Mu Qian involuntarily called out these 2 words. This shout is not because of the feelings of the previous Mu Qian, but from her heart. The only man in the eyes of the previous Mu Qian will always be Shenyuan Li Tian. The little uncle who she can't see eye to eye most of time is like a stranger to her. Even if Mu Qian could handle the situation just now, but when he appeared, he fought for her without any reason and defended her without reservation. Because of the prince's order, the other members of the Mu Jiao turned a blind eye, but he was the only one who cared to defend for her. If she counted the people who will unconditionally love her no matter what she'd done, only her little uncle would appear in her mind. Hearing his niece call out his name sweetly, a smile appeared on his lips as if a spring breeze is blowing. 11. Mu Jiao's third master, Mu Wushuang. For Mu Wushuang, killing Shenyuan Li Tian is not a major thing. Even if he is suffering from a double illness, he still has the strength of the peak 9th stage martial warrior and is considered as the strongest among the Purple Moon Country people. 7th Prince, would you like to give me an explanation on what is happening here? His gentle gaze and tone when talking to Mu Qian disappeared when he turned to look at Shenyuan Li Tian. The air suddenly turned cold. At the same time, the Mu Jiao's people who disappeared earlier all rushed to return to the yard, and each cautiously shouted and kneeled. Third Master, an elder put on a brave front and said, Third Master, we didn't expect you'd come. Mu Wushuang suffers from a double illness. After letting his niece, Mu Qian, she become the lord of this clan, he did not care about the big and small things happening and concentrated on treating his illness first. But the aberrant Mu Wushuang is here and almost everyone is deeply afraid of him. The people of Mu Jiao came, and Shenyuan Li Tian breathed a sigh of relief. With these people, Mu Wushuang will not kill him without any scruples. Shenyuan Li Tian politely explained. Third Master Mu, this prince is here originally to send a gift after hearing the news that my fiancée was dead. But I didn't think that after coming here that she is still alive. Faking her death and making everyone here worry for nothing, causing this incident to disturb your peace. I hope she will learn not to do things like this again. Are you lecturing me on how to discipline my little Qian? Your Highness, just who do you think you are? Mu Qian moved beside Mu Wushuang, sneered and added fuel to the fire. That's right. My little uncle is still here. Why do you keep on reprimanding me that it's my fault? You make it sound that you people didn't started it first. As for your gift, sending a coffin for your dead fiancé, is that really how the royal family works? Or is it just your ingenuity? Mu Qian said in one go. Li Tian felt unparalleled pressure coming from Mu Wushuang, almost making him want to vomit blood. He said quickly. Still, Yuna was worried about her safety and wanted to check on her but was seriously injured by Mu Qian instead. Even now, Yuna's hand still hurts. Seeing his glance, Mu Ruyun picked up her sleeve and revealed the swollen wrist that looks like a pig's elbow. She let out a pitiable and painful cry, performing her best sorry look, so that the men present cannot help but feel pity on her. However, Mu Wushuang doesn't care. Even if he can see it with his eyes, I am afraid that he will not pity Mu Ruyun in the slightest. Leave it. Leave it. What is more astounding is that Mu Wushuang and Mu Qian actually spoken at the same time, and even the tone was the same. Everyone twitched. Sure enough, these two are like two peas in a pod. This is a tacit understanding. Mu Ruyun's face turned purple with rage, and Shenyuan is unwilling not to continue. This prince was wronged. I just said a few words to her, but the result are as you can see. She attacked this prince and also wanted to throw this prince into the coffin. She clearly wanted me to die. My bodyguards were quick enough to protect me from danger, so I also have to shoot, but this prince never planned to hurt her, just wanted her to stop. Shenyuan is playing the victim card. Mu Wushuang raised his eyebrows and asked, Is that true? All of the three elders and other Mu Jiao people nodded again and again. An elder said, This old slave was present at that time. Everything that the prince said is true. Everything that was said by the prince is not false. This time it is really the Lord's fault. These old guys don't seem to be surnamed as Mu, instead they immediately changed their surnames as Shenyuan. One by one they all took Shenyuan Li Tian's side. This way made Shenyuan felt that he had already won. Even if Mu Wushuang is short-sighted with these many people acting as his witnesses, Mu Qian doesn't have a chance. Mu Qian win the battle, but lose the war today, and he is on set on humiliating her. Is this really the case? Could it be that this old man was blind? An old voice interrupted. I decided that in every Monday I'll post 2 chapters. Yay! Ah! My baby Wushuang is really a Yanda. Gulps, I still love him anyway. The threat is so ridiculous a white-haired old man jumped down from the roof. Even if he tried to conceal his strong aura and high cultivation, it was still detected by Mu Qian. An elder shouted angrily, "Who are you? Dare to break into the Mu Jia's residence? Someone! Hold this old man down, quick!" With the elder's command, people rose to a clamor. Shen Yuan looked closely at this old man's face, then his face became pale. His body tensed up and shouted, "You guys needs to shut up. Do you want to die? This prince doesn't want to die together with you fools." Seeing Shen Yuan so agitated, Mu Ruyun, who is beside him, felt scared. She looked at this person and was sure that he is just an ordinary old man. From the looks to his attitude, nothing is out of ordinary. But she keeps having this feeling that she'd already seen him somewhere. This old man is none other than housekeeper Bai of that Ashura's mansion. Is it only the white housekeeper who came? That ice block isn't here, right? Mu Qian silently pondered. Just to be sure, Mu Qian decided to climb up to the roof of her residence, and she didn't find the man who always acts rudely and unexpectedly. Shen Yuan Li Tian courteously asked, "Housekeeper Bai, how come you're here?" Everyone was confused. Shen Yuan is usually an unreasonable and proud person when talking to an old scholar. They'd originally thought that this old guy is a high-ranking person, but apparently it's not. It turned out to be a housekeeper all right. What sorcery did he make for Shen Yuan Li Tian to act so carefully in front of him? Even in front of the emperor's housekeeper he did not bat an eye. Others do not know, but that doesn't mean that he also did. Housekeeper Bai, he knows him too well. In fact, he wanted no contact on this person at all. This housekeeper Bai, among the 9th Prince's subordinates, is the only human being. That mansion, since he'd been inside it once, he promised himself to never come back for a second time. That man, since he'd already let him go out of that hell. Of course, he never wanted to see him again. Shen Yuan Li Tian is deeply afraid of Shen Yuan Ju Yi. Upon seeing Ju Yi's housekeeper appear in front of him, he almost fainted on the spot. "My master and I are also acquainted with the Mu Jia's lord. I heard that she said away, so I came to pray for her. I didn't think that I would watch such a good show coming from your highness." Housekeeper Bai smiled. Shen Yuan Li Tian was nervous from the bottom of his heart and asked, "Housekeeper Bai, how long have you been here?" He only hopes that he did not see much. As a result, Housekeeper Bai nodded. "Not too long ago, I arrived just when your highness brought the jade coffin inside the morning hall." Shen Yuan Li Tian turned white and whispered, "Housekeeper Bai, after all, I am still the brother of the 9th Prince. Can you?" He hadn't finished his pleading yet, but the voice of Mu Wushuang had come. Since the old gentleman had seen it all, "Can you tell me what happened today?" Mu Wushuang is really intelligent. Although he does not have an idea how his niece came to know Housekeeper Bai and the 9th Prince, he sensed that this person is here intending to help Mu Qian. Housekeeper Bai laughed. "The thing is like this, this housekeeper really had a talent for speech, from beginning to end, one by one without any pause. He said all that have happened earlier in one go. When he told everything, there was anger for the people who tried to harm Mu Qian. This made others think that he is really close towards the Lord of Mu Jia. In front of Shentian Li Tian and the other elders there is nothing he did not dare to say. Mu Wushuang is mad. Shenyuan Li Tian, who gave you the courage to do despicable deeds in my house, not only hurting my 11er but also using everyone to take side with you. Li Tian, did you really think because you are a member of the royal family, I wouldn't dare to cut your hands? Even if Mu Wushuang killed Shenyuan Li Tian, the emperor of the Purple Moon Country may not be able to do anything to him. Mu Wushuang is the name of the #1 strongest person in the Purple Moon Country and is not just a display. Xuanyuan's face turned from blue to green. At this moment Mu Qian softly said to Wushuang, "Don't be angry, didn't you come out in time to save me? I'm fine now. But Shenyuan Li Tian, if you wanted to leave out of this residence alive, kindly comply with our agreement earlier." Mu Qian coldly said. "That's impossible." Shenyuan gnawed his teeth. If he was caught lying inside the coffin and carried outside Mu Jia's residence, he will probably have no face in the Purple Moon Country. Since you are looking for your death, then I will fulfill your wish. A cold murderous aura exuding from Mu Wushuang appeared. A hidden guard beside Li Tian shouted, "Your Highness, we will block Third Master Mu. Prince, you have to leave quickly. Are you sure that you all have the capability to protect His Highness?" Mu Qian asked in a mocking tone. "Do it." Mu Wushuang waved his hand and a couple of men in black have landed on the ground effortlessly. In the blink of an eye, all of Shenyuan Li Tian's scapegoats are defeated, making him feel hopeless and depressed. These black figures are the forces behind Mu Wushuang, the shadow of Mu Jiao. Strong. Almost everyone thought of that single word. Death or follow the contract of the bet. Shenyuan Li Tian, which one will you choose? Mu Wushuang asked softly, but his eyes are clearly devoid of emotions. Shenyuan felt that death was approaching him, so he decided to swallow his pride and accept his fate in the end. Since this prince had lost, then this prince will surely fulfill his promise. This prince is a person who has always been true to his words. PFTT, you're saying this now? Don't you think it's too ridiculous? Mu Qian laughed out loud. Hearing her unrefined laugh towards him, Shenyuan Li Tian never felt this humiliated before. This DAMN woman wasn't a bit reluctant at all. Mu Qian, don't push your luck. I will never admit that you are my fiancé. We'll go back to the palace. I will immediately ask Father Emperor to cancel his decree even if I die. I have to get rid of this ridiculous marriage contract between us. Li Tian is such a bitch. How did he even survive at Ju Yi's place? Did he beg and cried until he was released? It's the best thing you've ever done, Shenyuan Li Tian proudly said. I need to get out of this marriage. If the emperor had known the real you, I'm sure he'd already given up his decree. He said this in order to tell her that he is her fiancé and that it is not good for her if he lose face. But also to remind her that even if she had changed a lot now, he Shenyuan Li Tian was still the man she had been trying to marry. Some of these reasons would work if she was still the old Mu Qian, but too bad for him. The Mu Qian she in front of him don't give a damn. The corners of Mu Qian's lips suddenly evoke a playful smile. Your Highness don't have to worry about that matter. Hurry. Bring this prince away into his well-prepared jade coffin. As for the divorce, you don't need to go to the palace to find the emperor. I will write it to you here right now. Shenyuan Li Tian couldn't believe what he just heard right now. In fact, he thought he was daydreaming. Mu Qian, what did you say? You're divorcing me. Are you out of your mind? Obviously 3 years ago, due to Mu Qian's undying love for him, Mu Jiao's treasury lost a lot of money. She even brought out a lot of treasures for her dowry, in order to get his father emperor to decree their marriage. But now, she wanted a divorce. It was what he had always wanted, but now he was about to blow up. He who is admired by every woman in the country, on what basis does Mu Qian decisively reject him? Your Highness, please. A Mu Jiao's shadow appeared beside him, at the behest of the Lord, leading Shenyuan Li Tian to enter his jade coffin. With a shattering voice, he said, "Get out of the way." He evidently doesn't want to go in. These shadows don't take orders from him, so he was still carried by the 4 shadows. Creak, the lid was opened and they abruptly threw the prince into the coffin. Exclamation point. Ah! Shenyuan Li Tian yelled when he fell. You! How dare you treat me like this? I. He wanted to climb out, but suddenly found himself lying in a coffin, stiffened all over, completely unable to move. Except he can talk, he is now completely like a dead man. He was terrified and shouted, "What did you do? How can I not move? Mu Qian, you shall not die well." He even dared to curse Elevenor. Mu Wushuang's eyes flashed a glimmer of danger. Seeing her uncle be angry for her, Mu Qian couldn't help but laugh instead. "Uncle, don't be angry. This kind of people is boring to kill. Elder, what are you waiting for? Hurry up and get ready. I'm making the divorce letter before His Highness comes back to the palace." Mu Qian pointed to an elder. Mu Qian. Lord, are you really going to withdraw from this marriage? You made this marriage contract, but you also wanted to. The elder is hesitant to obey her order. He shoots a glance towards Mu Wushuang, hoping he can stop Mu Qian. My loss, I will certainly get it back, but for today I must end this farce. I do not want to have any relationship with this thrash, it's too humiliating, Mu Qian said with an abandoned face. Mu Wushuang looked at his niece's pitiful face and made up his mind. You do what Elevener says, do not question the decision of Elevener. He turned to Mu Qian, like coaxing a child, he said. It doesn't matter if you can't get those things back, as long as you're happy it's enough. Yes, this servant understands. The elder swiftly get the things Mu Qian needed. The elder who'd delivered the brush, inkstone, and blotting paper started to write quickly but failed, resulting to smashing things instead. Crash! The ink splattered on the elder's face, and the inkstone was directly smashed onto his forehead. The elder really wanted to be angry and reproach the Lord, but Mu Qian approached him first. Mu Qian looked down with a frown and said, Elder, did I order you to write my divorce letter? Did you think you have the rights to do things regarding my marriage without consulting me first? This kind of thing is not for you to be trifled with. Needless to say, the older you get the more useless you'll be. These elders, who they'd had just taken care of, really doesn't know how to be in someone's debt. Take a look at this old man in front of me. The Mujio feeds them but they just end up as an unreasonable old man, is what Mu Qian thought. The elder, who was cursed, was speechless for a moment, full of resentment. Today, Mu Qian is very different from the previous days, who only knows how to be scared. She who had no talent and support before suddenly becomes so oppressive. What an audacity. Come on. Prepare another brush and ink, also bring me a wooden board. Yes. Mu Qian wanted to prepare something to send over, thus she started to write enthusiastically. The three words are annulment of marriage. Housekeeper Bai, who was watching on the side of the show, laughed. The characters of the Mujio's lord is very impressive, all is in order and neat and there is no trace of uncertainty. Good. Mu Qian's mouth is twitching, although his words are flattering, but with the way Housekeeper Bai said it. It was way too exaggerated. In that gloomy mansion, Housekeeper Bai always act in order, but she did not think that this fellow was a flatterer. As the first and only woman to enter and exit the residence of the young master alive, Housekeeper Bai had completely regarded Mu Qian as young master's mistress. For the mistress, naturally, he would have to give a lot of praise. Mu Qian's brush continued to write, stated, Shenyuan Li Tian, although have a marriage contract to Mu Qian Shi by an imperial edict. Due to his ordinary appearance, having a strength of a waste material, being mendacious, cruel and ruthless, added with the fact that he had an affair with another woman. I Mu Qian Shi, announced henceforth, with Shenyuan Li Tian, to terminate our marriage contract. Mu Qian, who is writing at the side, read every word she wrote. Her voice is not small. Even if he was inside the coffin, Shenyuan Li Tian heard all of it clearly. Shenyuan Li Tian inhaled a lot of air in order not to vomit blood from the rage he is feeling right now. Shameless Mu Qian, ha ha ha. An enhanced refund. Mu Ruyun was so mad at the way they've treated the seventh prince. She stomped her foot and asked in a painful tone, Lord, how can you humiliate brother Li Tian like this? I humiliated him? No. Ask yourself, is he good looking? He can't even compare to 1/10 of this lord. Isn't he a thrash? He can't even beat such a waste like me. Mu Qian counted one by one, even though Mu Ruyun have a sharp tongue, but now she can't even refute any words coming from Mu Qian's mouth. Mu Ruyun stared at Mu Qian in shock. Mu Qian suddenly became powerful, even her eloquence is excellent. Is she still Mu Qian Shi? Mu Qian is too lazy to talk at this brainless woman. Instead she turned at her little uncle by her side and asked, Little uncle, what do you think of my writing? Mu Wushuang said, Since both of your parents are not here, your divorce letter should be written by your little uncle instead. All right. Then prepare another wooden board. Yes. Mu Qian is a bit helpless. The reason why her uncle wanted to write another letter was maybe for her sake. He's afraid that she will offend Shenyuan Li Tian's father, the emperor of the Purple Moon Kingdom, but she is very curious. What will her little uncle write in her divorce letter? Shenyuan Li Tian heaved a sigh of relief. Mu Wushuang is an adult even though he still doesn't have a wife. Compared to Mu Qian, having him write the letter is more assuring. Otherwise, if that kind of revocation of his marriage got out, he would feel too ashamed to be seen in the future. After another piece of big wooden board was sent over, Mu Wushuang started to write. Characters that moved people, gentle as jade, steady and reserved. Although Mu Qian can't see, the strength is there. She's more sensitive to things around her than the average person. Naturally, there is no problem on her uncle's writing. Withdrawal of marriage letter, these 3 words came out quickly. He continued to write some more. 7th Prince Shenyuan Li Tian, although this marriage was arranged by my niece with the decree of the emperor. I, Mu Wushuang, am not willing to hand my virtuous niece due to the reasons that will follow. Appearance is unsightly, only has low strength, a complete trash to the core, untrustworthy, a dreg of society, cruel and merciless, has a cold temperament, absolutely not fit to match to any kind of woman, always picking the flowers and trampling the grass. Have a lot of affair with other women, comes and go to red light district every day. The wooden board is not big enough. With Mu Wushuang voluminous words, the people who saw it all turned foolish. They know the third master is a master of pen and sword, but hadn't thought that the third master is a literary talent. Mu Qian's mouth is twitching, her little uncle He's worse than her, all right. This is obviously the divorce letter she wrote, but when her uncle wrote it, it became an enhanced version. An upgrade. Mu Wushuang continued until the end. After my shadow's investigation, we had evidence of His Highness' dirty deeds of playing with other women. In fact, in order to cover up his action, I did not mention this thing to anyone before, but now I decided in behalf of 11 parents. Mu Wushuang, is not worthy to be a part of the royal family. My niece, Mu Qian, is also not worthy to be in the royal family. So hereby, I announced that starting today, Shenyuan Li Tian is lifted from his marriage to Mu Qian Shi, henceforth, severing all ties to one another. At this time, the crowd took a breath of cold air. They've never seen anything like this before. I'm afraid if this comes out, the whole Purple Moon Country people will laugh at him. Although they do not know that if the accusations are true or not, but Shenyuan Li Tian's reputation is absolutely finished. Mu Jia's third master is truly not a person to be trifled with, else you'll die without knowing. Mu Ruyun, who is already weak at this time, can't stand properly. She dares not to imagine what will happen to her if she leaves together with her brother Li Tian. In her mind, she doesn't want to walk out of the Mu Jia's door with him at all. Third master, please open the net on one side. Mu Ruyun kneeled down and cried. When you and Shenyuan Li Tian dared to hurt 11, did you think that this wouldn't happen? I'm just giving you back what you did. Mu Wushuang coldly said. The face of Mu Ruyun is so pale, she believed that the third master knew everything she had done. Mu Qian sneer, although the previous Mu Qian is a waste, but after all, she is still a member of the main family, her reputation wouldn't be so bad if there is no one who started it. It's all because someone fanned the flames. Deliberately release some nasty information. Making the city known, almost every day Mu Qian is the hottest topic in the restaurants and such. This time, Mu Qian suddenly smiled and said, Mu Ruyun, you lose the bet, you should also need to fulfill your promise. Mu Ruyun felt all cold, stepped back and wanted to stay away from Mu Qian. What she did today was so scary. She could not imagine, what would she do to her? She shivered and said, What are you going to do? Mu Qian smiled. Aren't you very fond of your brother Li Tian? He is lying inside the coffin alone. So, you should join him in there to accompany him until you reached the palace. What? I'm not going inside the coffin is so terrible, Mu Ruyun screamed. Shenyuan Li Tian heard her, his cold trace flashed in his eyes. This woman used to say that she loved him and was willing to die for him, yet, she is not willing to suffer with him now. Second elder hurriedly ran over to intercede. Lord, that is impossible. If that really happen, Yuna's reputation will be ruined. How do you expect her to marry then? Pick the flowers and trample the grass. Chinese idiom for people who are frequent in brothels, to womanize. Master of pen and sword, well versed in letters and military technology, a fine scholar and soldier. Open the net on one side to give one's opponent a way out. Mu Ruyun is backing out now. What now, Li Tian? All the way to the streets Mu Qian sneered. Marry? Second elder, don't play dumb with me. Didn't you always find ways to get Shenyuan Li Tian to withdraw to his marriage so that your lovely granddaughter here can marry him? Today, I'm giving her the chance to get closer to him. As long as your granddaughter and Shenyuan Li Tian experience the same hardships together, maybe she will be accepted to his door as his wife. Lord, that's, even if Mu Ruyun can marry into his door successfully, I'm afraid she can't even be conferred as a tsefei. Literally to try to steal a chicken only to end up losing the rice used to lure it. The elder trembled with anger. Mu Qian sarcastically said. Second elder, I know you're too glad, but please stop shaking with happiness. I'm getting dizzy. Lord, please forgive this servant. The second elder screamed. Let me go. I know I'm wrong. Mu Ruyun cried. Lord, I have taken care of you for 3 years. In the past 3 years, I have always treated you like a sister. Don't be cruel to me. Ha ha ha. Taken care of me, are you really? Mu Qian smirked. That pair of dark eyes is like a mirror. Mu Ruyun's thoughts can't be hidden in her eyes. Come. Send Mu Ruyun to accompany His Highness Li Tian in the coffin. The shadows wanted to do it, but Mu Ruyun cut them off. No, I will go by myself. Since Mu Ruyun is close to the prince, knowing that things can't be changed over, she can only accept this result. She jumped into the jade coffin. This coffin was carefully built by the prince's carpenter and it was spacious enough to hold 2 people. Such a small space, with only the 2 of them. In his darkest time, there was a woman to accompany him. Shenyuan Li Tian should be moved. But when he thought of her refusal, the way she struggled as if she didn't really want to, Shenyuan felt betrayed. He closed his eyes and didn't want to see this hypocritical woman beside him again. Mu Ruyun clenched his hand. I will accompany you, brother Li Tian, from now on. No matter what happens, I will always be with you. I rebelled against Mu Qian, just to look for ways for us to escape. Let other people save us. But I didn't think that even with my last method it still wouldn't work. Forgive me. All I can do now is to accompany you. With the soft and gentle voice of the woman, Xuanyuan's heart becomes soft again. After all, he still has feelings for Mu Ruyun. He entwines his fingers onto hers and said in a loving tone. Yuna, Mu Wushuang ordered. Put this divorce letter on the coffin and send it away together with the 7th prince to the palace. Mu Qian added. Go slowly, don't let the prince squat inside. Yes. 8 people carried the coffin, 4 people carrying the lid. These strong men walked out of the Mu Jia's residence. Housekeeper Bai smiled. Thanks to the Mu Jia's lord, this old servant saw a good show today. The master is still waiting for me to go back, so I will go first. He respectfully said goodbye to Mu Qian and her uncle. Okay, goodbye then. Mu Qian also returned his courtesy. If housekeeper Bai didn't arrive today, with just the claims of Mu Ruyun and Shenyuan Li Tian, it is impossible for her to win this alone. As for you guys, Mu Qianxi looked at the people present. Lord, a group of them were frightened. Today, the Lord's approach towards the prince is too scary. Together with the 3rd master, their hearts are now skating in ice. The 3 elders have done their best for the Mu family in the past years. Today, I will spare you. As for the other people, all of them are to be sold. All right. The 3 elders can escape this catastrophe. They can finally take a sigh of relief. As for these minions, they will be sold when they are sold. The 3 elders did not even plead for them, so they felt their future became bleak. Cough, cough. At this time, Mu Wushuang actually coughed up. He reminded, 11er, I'm sure you're tired, you should take a rest. Little uncle should be the one to take a good rest first. Come, send my little uncle back inside his room. Mu Qian ordered. Yes. Mu Qian looked at the thin figure. The little uncle's legs and eyes were not congenital, but was the result of poisoning. The poisons destroyed her uncle's body and also made his body very weak. If the uncle's strength isn't high, I am afraid he can't even use a wheelchair. He can only lie on the bed every day and night. She changed so much. Why didn't little uncle ask her anything? She made up her mind. He is her little uncle, even if she isn't the original Mu Qian, so what? Her little uncle, the person who really cared for her from past to present. Even if he is the only relative around her, That is already enough. After Mu Wushuang left, Mu Qian ordered, "Take this morning hall to be demolished. Your lord has not died yet." "Yes." Mu Qianni stretched out her arms slowly and lazily spoke. "I should also return to my room to rest. Although it's fun to use my new abilities, but it is really making me feel tired." When Mu Qian leave, the white-haired old housekeeper stood behind a black slender figure and cupped his hands and reported, "Young master, the lord has returned to rest, and we should also go back." He turned his head slightly, revealing a beautiful face that was as cold as ice, as bright as a demon, two very different feelings, but can be interpreted by his perfect countenance. "He has been there all the time and has been watching." Mu Qian could not find him earlier. It was because her cultivation was not enough. Ju Yi randomly gave a command. "The coffin with Xuanyuan's Li Tian should go to the main street. You need to make this thing big, and then solve the people who will try to save him." This servant obeys. When housekeeper Bai left, the black figure flashed in the blink of an eye. He went to the courtyard where the Mu Jia's lord was located. Cefei, side concubine second-ranked wife of a prince in first rank. Li Tian is really stupid and blind. But the highlight here is the stalker appeared. Room decoration gifts. The wind is moving. Ju Yi have come inside Mu Qian's room. Mu Qian just came back to take a rest and had not yet thought of taking care of this dreadful room. After crossing over, Mu Qian unconsciously made a pact to the Eternal Pavilion, and then she was caught by Shenyuan Ju Yi. She refined poisons for 3 days in order to get back at the Mu Jia's residence. After returning home, she began to dispose the dregs in the clan. She doesn't have the chance to take a good rest yet, and her whole body was tired. Upon coming into this room, no matter if it's good or bad, she needed to sleep first. In fact, it is not too bad. The room is filled with things that have a touch of gold. But it was the low-key bright style that made Ju Yi frown. Shenyuan Ju Yi leaned against the window, the cold eyes fell on the woman's sleeping face. He looked for a while and disappeared into the room, as if he had never come in the first place. Today, the streets of the Purple Moon Kingdom are very lively, especially the way from Mu Jia's residence to Shenyuan Li Tian's palace. Really? Mu Qian she withdraws from her marriage with Shenyuan Li Tian? I'd heard from someone that the divorce letter was personally written by Mu Wushuang. It's clearly not fake. I did not expect that the talented 7th prince will someday be treated like this, in such inhumane way. Shenyuan Li Tian heard all the voices of the people that were talking about him. He wanted to find a hole to get into, but he does not know what the problem in his body is. He simply just can't move. Mu Ruyun can't resist anymore and asked, "This thing is getting bigger and bigger. How come the guards from the palace have not yet come to save us?" "Just wait. People from the palace will come to save us." "Yes, I'm sure my brother will send someone to come and save us." But Shenyuan Li Tian hadn't thought that the unexpected always happens. The people who came to save him were solved by 2 people in the next street. One person is clean and tidy while the other one looks like a ruthless ghost in general. And that is just the beginning. At this time, in the exquisite jade coffin a tearing sound suddenly came out. Shenyuan Li Tian roared at Mu Ruyun. "Mu Ruyun, are you crazy? Don't you think it's already a mess here and you're still adding more?" "But brother Li Tian, I am so hot, so hot." A man with a sharp eyes saw what is happening and exclaimed, "Oh God, isn't that woman beside the prince, Mu Ruyun? This is our famous genius. I didn't expect her to be so good and fit. A beauty like this, offering herself. Look. Even the prince is still unmoved. It really seems that Shenyuan Li Tian is not a man after all. What a pity for that beauty. Beauty, if he can't do it, let this brother accompany you instead." All kinds of humiliating and perverted words reached Mu Ruyun's ears. She was so ashamed that she wanted to commit suicide. But she can't control her own body. Seeing her beloved beside her, she can't control the desire in her heart as she pounced on Shenyuan Li Tian's stiff body. She took notice that no matter how much she pleads, Shenyuan Li Tian still does not move for her. In the end, she used both hands to tear Shenyuan Li Tian's clothes. "Mu Ruyun, you need to stop." "Ah." The people shook their heads. Someone in the crowd even said, The beauty is already so aggressive, but the prince still hadn't made his move. It seems that this peerless son of the emperor is indeed a Ra. From the moment Shenyuan Li Tian and Mu Ruyun were defeated by Mu Qian, they were sent into the coffin from Mu Jia's residence to the palace that almost took a whole day procession. A series of events have happened on the road, but what completely stands out was Mu Ruyun's innocence being destroyed in public and Shenyuan Li Tian's impotence. With no one to save him, the shadow's speed in walking became as slow as Mola S says. They also pretended to be lost, making the 6 hours trip to a half day instead. Fuck. That man really wanted to be dead. Due to the news reaching the palace, not only the other prince sent people to save Li Tian, even the Purple Moon Kingdom's emperor cannot sit still and decided to add another batch of palace guards to save him from this disgrace. For this son, he has always been very satisfied. But from the events that occurred today really made him mad, but for the sake of the royal's reputation he could not ignore him even if wanted to. To make matters worse, the masters he has sent were all killed. Mu Qian, Mu Wushuang, you two are simply too bold. The emperor in the palace cursed a blue streak after he found out that it was them who gave him a great deal of humiliation, but even if it was Mu Qian and Mu Wushuang who did such an insult to the royal family, he can only do nothing. He believed that even if he sent his whole army, no one can match the number one strongest person, Mu Wushuang of the Purple Moon Kingdom. Who let the Mu clan be the richest family in the Purple Moon? If the Mu Jia disappeared, the whole future days of the Purple Moon Kingdom will result to economic paralysis. But this time it was obviously Shenyuan Li Tian who had lost the bet. The other side has their witness, and that witness is none other than Zhu Yi's loyal subordinate. He is the emperor of this kingdom, yet he was bullied to this degree. He can only swallow his anger and forget the hatred he feels for Mu Jia and Zhu Yi. Send someone to comfort the seventh prince. Jun will deal with this matter. As for that humble servant of the Mu Jia, let her do whatever she wants. Yes. A eunuch beside him respectfully bowed and left. Mu Qian rested enough, as she gets up from the bed. She saw furnishings in her room that she truly can't bear. Gold and jade are all over the place. The wall is made of jade, the roof is also made of gold, and even the vases are all gold. The good thing is, this room is full of riches, and the bad thing is, this room is simply vulgar, it just leaves a bad taste in one's mouth. She shouted. Someone. Come here. Move all of these things out of this room, and redesign it. This time there was a little servant boy who came and said, My lord, an old man named Housekeeper by sent some things for you to decorate your room. Cut sleeve, idiom, figure euphemism for HOMOS. Ezuality, originating from history of Western Han, Emperor Han Adi, real name Liu Xin, was in bed with his lover Dongxian, and had to attend a court audience that morning. Not wishing to awaken Dongxian, who was sleeping with his head resting on the emperor's long robe sleeve, Adi used a knife to cut off the lower half of his sleeve. Zhen, the word Zhen means I or my in ancient Chinese. Before Qin dynasty, this word can be used by everyone. But when Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor in history, was in power, he made it a rule that Zhen can only be used by the emperor himself. This is not what I'd expected. I don't know about you guys, but I really preferred if XJY did not do such a thing. Using aphrodisiacs is a big no for me. No. The pharmacist is arrogant. Mu Qian was slightly distracted. This housekeeper by is such a know-it-all. She just wanted to change the furnishings of the room earlier, but he was a step ahead of her. Come in and show me. Yes, my lord. The best purple jades, fine jades, crystals, red sandalwoods, blood spirit woods, moyu screens. These things are more precious than anything in the house. It can be considered as low-key and luxurious at the same time. Lord, do we take these things? It's definitely not housekeeper by who has sent these things out. It must have been his young master. With that ice block temper, if she didn't accept these things, I'm afraid he would kill her. She clicked her tongue and said, Take it. Just remember to give my thanks to housekeeper by. That man's mind is too deep. Obviously he knows that she's got a treasure to guard already. He even gave her another treasure with the same weight as the last one on her hand, and now another pile of treasure was sent to her just like that. For no apparent reason, He sent his housekeeper to give her a witness, then he sent so many treasured objects to decorate her room. Whatever his purpose was, Mu Qian decided to write it down first. Take the good things in my room first. Then lead me to the pharmacy. The little uncle is suffering from a strange poison. She's afraid that there's no medicine in the Mu Jia's pharmacy that can cure her uncle's body. After arriving at the pharmacy, Mu Qian, she was stopped at the door. A 40-year-old man wearing a pharmacist's robe arrogantly said, "You. Don't tell me you don't know. This place is a pharmacy and no one else, aside from me, can enter." Mu Qian coldly said, "This is the Mu Jia's residence. I don't know when it became yours." For the benefit of Mu Qian, the little servant who led her softly reminded the old man. Wang Lian, she is the lord of the Mu Jia, Mu Qian. Knowing that she is the Mu Jia's lord, Wang Lian even taunts her. "Me. You are the lord that is known as a waste. My pharmacy is not a place where you can mess around. Now get the fuck out of here." Wang Lian, the pharmacist, does not care who you are. Pharmacist Lian has always been proud even in the past. Also, Wang Lian is merely an entry-level pharmacist. He can only refine a few first-rate medicine pellets in his top condition. He is the only pharmacist in the Mu Jia. That's what made him think that he is someone to be worshipped. He considered himself as a rare commodity. Therefore, even if he doesn't put the Lord in his eyes, the crime of disrespecting the Lord won't befall him. Mu Qian's eyes flashed a murderous intent. In a cold voice she said, "Very good, even dare not put the Mu Jia's Lord in your eyes." She shouted, "Shadows! Get this guy out of here and whip him 100 lashes." As the Lord of the Mu Jia, she certainly has a shadow to protect her. It was only on the day of the accident that someone else held the shadow that led her to such a situation. 2 shadows appeared. They quickly arrested Wang Lian. Wang Lian did not expect that this will happen. He shouted angrily, "You waste! You dare beat me! I am the only pharmacist Mu Jia has. You should worship me. If you really hit me, I will leave immediately. Even if you beg, I will never come back." Mu Qian retorted back, "Get this trash out, whip him ferociously. POW, POW, POW." The shadow is not polite at all. He ruthlessly whipped Wang Lian. Wang Lian started shouting, completely unaware of his mistake. "Waste! I tell you, I am one of Dan Zhizhong's people. Don't you dare touch me, else Dan Zhizhong won't leave you alone. You think Dan Zhizhong is worthy to be Mu Jia's opponent? Shadow, it seems you're hitting too lightly. Add another 100 whip." "Yes, my lord." Seeing Mu Qian disregard Wang Lian's warning, it is clear as day that she's not afraid of the Dan Zhizhong and wanted him dead. Wang Lian is anxious. This Mu Qian, she is really a complete reckless idiot. "Mu Qian she, you are so vicious. Mu Qian she, you must die." He did not want to give up, so he kept cursing at Mu Qian. He shouted louder and louder so that the Mu Jia's elders will hear and come to save him. The 3 elders who came were blocked by a shadow. The Lord commanded that no one should come in. "Let us through. If the Lord killed pharmacist Lian, we cannot withstand the Dan Zhizhong's wrath." They are worried outside for a moment, then suddenly one elder said, "Let's go back." "Why?" Both 2 elders beside him asked. Elder 1 said softly so that the only 2 elders can hear him, "We're about to have the clan meeting once a month soon. If we had lost a pharmacist, we could put pressure on her at that time and can also teach her a lesson." What brother said is true. A clan meeting, they can wait for a few days to get back at her and can even avenge for Yuna. The rescue team did not come. Pharmacist Lian despaired. He cried, "Lord Mu, please spare me. It's my fault. I really have nothing against you, I promise." He saw she didn't even budge. He added, "Lord, give me a last chance. I will dedicate myself to serve you." "Hey, now you're begging for mercy? Or, too bad," Mu Qian sneered. "After 300 lashes, throw him out." Mu Qian waved her hand, then turned into the pharmacy. 200 whips plus 100, Wang Lian was so scared, he fainted immediately. Although he is a spirit warrior, even if he can't die with the 300 whips, but the process will definitely be a torture. Mu Qian skimmed through the pharmacy. Inside many poor quality medicine pellets were arranged. Even the failed ones are kept in a cabinet. She felt that this Wang Lian put their money in the same category with sand, recklessly wasting medicine ingredients like this. Just in time she was about to head out, the back door of the pharmacy was opened. Yet another stupid old man appeared, aside from housekeeper Bai. Good thing is he was dealt quickly. I just came back from the church with my family. We also bought Christmas decors. I'm gonna start arranging our Christmas tree first. He will spit out the riches he swallowed. You are. Hurry, leave quickly. If pharmacist Lian saw you here, he will not let you go. Walking in was a youth covered in dirt, about 15 to 16 years old. His figure is so thin and also speaks in a servant manner. Wang Lian is a very cruel person. Don't know how many children left due to his beating and cursing, but in the end, only he stayed. POW. 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 Sounds of whip lashing someone was heard outside. Mu Qian pointed her finger at Wang Lian and said, "He has no strength to beat someone." The youth went out. He saw that inside one of the Mu Jia's room, pharmacist Wang Lian was severely beaten. The whole person is being flooded with blood. He froze, and silently muttered to himself. This. Wang Lian awakened. He was still dizzy but still shouted, "Lord, spare my life. I know I'm wrong. I'm wrong." The youth stared at Mu Qian. A single thought clouded his mind. This young lady is the Mu Jia's lord. This woman, wearing a heliotrope purple-like long dress embroidered with an exquisite red spider lily, accompanied with a simple hairpin in her head. The skin is as white as snow, her facial features are delicate and fine, a true beauty. Her long and silky black hair down is like the best silk he'd ever seen. Such a woman, from the inside to outside, exudes a noble temperament. However, he had this feeling that with her languid and indolent mannerism, she is like an evil spirit from Hell. The rumors can't really be trusted. Just look at the Lord in front of him. The difference between the rumors and fact is as high as heaven and the sea. He was so shocked that his jaw drops. Mu Qian laughed at his silly reactions and said, "You are the pharmacist apprentice, I presume? All these years, that guy must have embezzled a lot of medicinal herbs from me. If you know, write it all down for this lord." She thought that it would be too simple for him to get out of this residence without paying the medicinal herbs he had squandered. She can let go of this thrash, but the sources he wasted is not. With Wang Lian's temper, he definitely can't swallow all of it alone. Yes, Lord. He may not be good at anything, but he has a good memory. Wang Lian's embezzlements comes with a large amount, but he still wrote down a lot. Mu Qian saw the list, her mouth evoke a devil's smile. The love of money is a root of all kinds of evil, for which some have strayed from the faith in their greediness, and pierced themselves through with many sorrows. Ling Zilin's heartbeat is thumping like crazy. The Lord is so attractive, he does not know whose blind person dared to discredit her. The shadow's movement is quick, the 300 whips will be finished soon, but Wang Lian fainted again. Mu Qian is still not satisfied. Fainted. Guess I'll have to wake him up, she ordered. Open the fire. Yes. Although Ling Zilin did not know what she was going to do, but he still turned on the fire of the furnace. Mu Qian randomly walked to a medicine cabinet to reach for a few herbs, and then she added a liquid mixed with various herbs into a pot. Not long after, the pot was filled with potion that she refined. She instructed, "Raise this pot outside, and then pour all of it to that guy." Yes. A shadow accepted her order. He straightforwardly lifted the pot with both hands and poured all of its contents to the head of Wang Lian to his feet. Ah! The heart-rending screams rang through the whole Mu Jia's residence. This showed how painful it was. Definitely 100 times more painful than 100 lashes. Being pulled out of the coma by such pain, pharmacist Lian looked at the purple figure like a ghost and said in a wrathful way, "You're a devil. You're not a human. You are not Mu Qian." At this time, his wounds due to the potion poured into him began to fester, too horrible to look at. Mu Qian, who can't contain her rage anymore, tossed a list towards Wang Lian's direction and indignantly said, These are the list of medicinal herbs you've embezzled from my family. Tell me how you should repay all of it. You dare to commit a crime inside the Mujio. Remember this, even if you tried to escape and get help from outside. The debts you've accumulated, you will have to pay me back 300 times. 300 times, even if he sold himself, he still cannot reach that kind of amount. Even though he is a pharmacist, even though rare, the things in the list are not what he, an entry-level pharmacist, can afford. Now, she is saying that he needed to pay 300 times the original worth. Even if he work for a lifetime, he won't afford it no matter what. As long as he's alive today and quickly returned to the Dan Jizhong sect. The Mu Jiao will absolutely be afraid to go settle this debt with him. Mu Qian spoke the truth. I know you won't admit it, that's why I've already prepared ahead of time. The potion we poured into you is extremely toxic. Within 7 days, if you can't prepare the payment, I won't give the antidote. Your body will completely fester until you die. Wang Lian shivered, his whole body will fester continuously. With these terrible consequences, once again he fainted. Mu Qian proclaimed. Together with this list, throw this trash out my home, yes. At this moment, Ling Zilin still hadn't returned from God. The only pharmacist was thrown out of the Mu Jiao's residence. Mu Qian teased him and said with a laugh, "Don't you think what I did was pretty good? Say, what's your name?" He was terrified as he did not expect Mu Qian to ask for his name. He said respectfully, "My name is Ling Zilin. Little Lin Zi, in the future, you'll be the one in charge of this pharmacy. But I am merely an apprentice of a pharmacist. I don't understand how to refine medicine pellets. I'm young and have a little background, I'm afraid to." His words have not yet finished, but Mu Qian firmly said, "I am the Mu Jiao's lord, I have the final word. If I say you can, you can." He nodded with tears. "Yes, my lord." The Mu Jiao's lord is completely different with the rumors. Not only, she isn't a waste material, but also firm and decisive, a bit of overbearing, but that's what makes her stands out from other lords. He softly said, "Lord Mu, this little one has an important question to ask. Did you also count how many times did Wang Lian fainted? Ha ha ha, stay tuned, I'll post another chapter today. Tilda. Give uncle his medicine. Ask, my lord, are you a refining pharmacist? Even Wang Sheng could not have the talent to replicate the way she made that potion in the pharmacy earlier. Refining pharmacist? I don't think so. Right. Take all of that animal's refining medicinal basic books and send them to Shuaishi courtyard for this lord to learn. Although she was a ghost doctor in her past life, in this ancient era the method of refining medicines are not the same. Refining medicines is a very serious thing, but this person, Mu Jiao's lord, unexpectedly said that she doesn't even know the basics and wanted to learn how to be a refining pharmacist through books only. In the event that she really turned out to be a refining pharmacist by only reading books, perhaps pigs will also fly. Yes. After that, come with me to the pharmacy. I'm going to boil something. Yes. Ling Zilin is familiar inside the pharmacy. What Mu Qian needs, he can find it first. But he doesn't have an idea what does the Lord was trying to make. All he does know is that the Lord painstakingly put together several drugs with the opposite nature. In the end, what is she trying to do? Even if the Lord put them all together forcibly, it didn't result to any major event. Mu Qian put the brewed potion in a bottle, saying, "Go, follow me to the Wu Yu courtyard." Wu Yu courtyard. Lin Zilin looked shocked. That courtyard, where an important person dwells, the third master of the Mu Jiao, the #1 strongest man in the Purple Moon country, Mu Wushuang. Correct. What? Ling Zilin is surprised. He did not expect to that their destination is there. Aside from the masters, the only person who can get in and out at will of the entire residence is only Mu Qian. Upon arriving, Ling Zilin was stopped at the gate. Mu Qian took the bottle of medicine in his hand and said, "You go back first." Ever since he arrived at this residence, he never had the opportunity to see the third master. He suddenly comes with the conclusion that the medicine she seriously brewed is for the third master. As she approached Wu Yu courtyard, a bamboo forest was already in front of her eyes. Inside the bamboo forest, a white figure sitting in a wheelchair was seen. He quietly watched the birds fly by. A small strand of hair slides down from his shoulder. The sunlight fell on his face through the woods. This scene looks surreal, as if he was a fine jade, has the soothing energy and looks flawless and perfect. Hearing the sounds of footsteps approaching, his mouth revealed a true smile like the spring breeze that nourishes the heart. 11 is here. Little uncle, is it no good today? Mu Qian smiled and took out her medicine. You're here now, so it's all right. The look in his eyes became softer and asked, is the medicine in your hand, for me? Mu Qian spent a long time boiling this medicine in the pharmacy during the day. The smell of the herbs in her body has not yet dispersed completely. Yes, I made this for you. She approached her uncle and softly said, open your mouth and drink this first. Mu Wushuang's mouth cannot help but twitch. He took the bottle in her hands and gently said, I'm not a child, I'll drink it myself. Just as he was about to drink the medicine, a man in black robe appeared and anxiously called out to him. Third master, you can't. The young master is not allowed to fool around, especially regarding his health. Now, the Lord unexpectedly gave him an inexplicable medicine. If the third master suffers after he drink it, what can he do? Stand down. Mu Wushuang looked at him coldly. Master. The man in black robe turned to look at Mu Qian. The hostility in his eyes is getting stronger. Mu Qian sighed heavily and shook her head. She explained. Look here, this is my little uncle. He's the only family that I have. Even if I try to poison all of the people here today, I won't hesitate, but I certainly wouldn't let any harm befall him. Are you satisfied? The man in black robe looked stunned. Her words are very clear, firm, that made people unable to refute. He even felt that the one standing in front of him is not the Lord who's a waste material, but the previous Lord, who was once the greatest in the world. Stand down. The man in black robe never said anything again, and left quickly. Mu Wushuang drank whatever is inside the bottle without hesitation. Mu Qian, who's like a mother, reminded him. The little uncle's body needs to be nursed back to health slowly. These 7 days, I will send someone to deliver the medicine at this time of the day. You must drink it all without a drop of it falling. I'll change the medicine after a week. Good. He smiled blandly. She felt a little emotional and can't help but ask. Little uncle, I changed so much, aren't you surprised at all? She is not the original Lord, for the little uncle who is her only family, she don't want to hide anything from him. And with the wisdom of her little uncle, I'm sure he already knows. Mu Wushuang said. In any case, 11 is my family, isn't she? The only family I have around now. 11 is also very curious, right? You only have these 3 years of memories? Mu Wushuang asked instead. Mu Qian froze. She only inherited the memory of the previous Mu Qian she in 3 years prior. The original Lord has no memory of herself 3 years ago. She was like a newborn child, completely ignorant. Her uncle let her become the new Mu Jia's Lord. With Mu Ruyun and the elders misleading her intentionally, accompanied by her inability to cultivate and practice. The result is she had become a complete waste. Mu Qian wanted to know what happened, so she asked seriously. Little uncle, the thing you didn't tell the previous Mu Qian, can you now tell me? Can't. Why not? Because your strength is not enough, knowing it won't benefit you in any way. What kind of strength is enough? Is it beyond what little uncle has? The strength of the little uncle is already at the peak of 9th stage martial warrior and is considered as the #1 strongest in Purple Moon Kingdom. She is now in the 4th stage spirit martial warrior. With the little uncle's strength, they're thousands of miles apart when compared. Due to all the weird stuff her uncle told her, when she crossed into this world, Mu Qian could not help but think that this is not accidental at all. Or rather, I swear I did not intentionally left it in a cliffhanger. Rushed to the Prince Ashura's residence, Mu Wushuang shook his head. Not enough, at least to the peak of Martial King. The peak of Martial King, it's more powerful than her little uncle, a huge gap. Mu Qian felt astonished. In fact, 11 doesn't have to struggle with this. It doesn't matter if you're not strong. I will guard the Mujia. All I wanted was for you to be peaceful and happy. Little uncle won't let anyone hurt you, and I don't want you to go down that dangerous road either. Mu Qian smiled painfully and held his hands. Little uncle, the truth is, today is the second time we meet. You don't know me. She faintly raised her head. I am Mu Qian. Since I'm already here, living a mediocre life will probably never happen. I also don't want to live my whole life under the protection of any person. The beautiful face of this lady is shrouded by the sunlight. The light in her eyes are more dazzling than the sun. You're really worthy enough to be my eldest brother's daughter. Mu Wushuang can't help but smile. Since Elevenor has made a choice, then as your little uncle, I absolutely and unconditionally support you. Mu Qian walked behind his wheelchair, gently pushed him back to his room to take his rest. She said, "It is important to become strong and reach the peak of Spirit King, but finding ways to cure my little uncle's eyes and legs is equally important." She stopped and looked in his eyes. Little uncle, do you believe me? Who can I trust now, if I don't trust Elevenor? His father and brothers visited everywhere, but no one cure his legs. His eyes were poisoned and completely destroyed. Everyone in this world says he can't be cured. All he could do was smile and say it was nothing at all. But what Elevenor had said, he believed it without any doubt. This is his most beloved family. I won't let little uncle down. After Mu Wushuang was sent to rest in his room, Mu Qian returned to her courtyard. Ling Zilin has sent some of pharmacist Sheng's refining books. Among them are various introductions for refining basic immortality pills. These are considered as a required course for future alchemist, refining pharmacist. This world has the same common herbs in the modern times, however there are other difficult herbs here that are 10 or more times effective than an ordinary herb can provide. These precious herbs can be turned into immortality elixir. It can cure every disease known to man, can rid of evil spirits and any difficulties. The elixir can be graded from level 1 to 9, the more advanced the rarer it gets. In the Purple Moon Kingdom, a level 3 elixir can become a national treasure. In order to cure the little uncle's body, she must strive for self-improvement to become a full-fledged alchemist. With a whole night's effort, Mu Qian finished reading all the basic books. She glanced at the table and found few first-rate medicinal pills that belong to the Mu Jia. Medicinal pills are very precious. Even the Mu Jia, who is already the richest clan in the Purple Moon Kingdom, only has few medicinal pills. Mu Qian waved her hand. A shadow appeared in front of her. She said, "Go and inquire where I can find a Jinwuxu Emperor Gra. SS in the Purple Moon Kingdom." 7 days later, she need to change little uncle's medicine. The stuff can't be less. Mu Jia's intelligence system is still very good. In just a short moment she already has news regarding the herbs. In the whole Purple Moon Kingdom, only one Jinwuxu Emperor Gra. SS exist, however it is located at Night Prince's palace. Mu Qian gave a word, full of nouveau riche air. "Buy it, no matter how much it costs, I have to buy it. Money is not important compared to my little uncle's health." The man's mouth twitched. "Lord, that is the Night Prince's palace. That palace is not lacking in money. That's why no one has ever been able to buy anything from the Night Prince's palace. Then since the other party refused to propose a drink, as punishment send some shadows to rob. Lord, it is the Night Prince's palace." The man stressed it again. "What are you talking about? Isn't it just a prince's mansion? The rumors of the Night Prince's palace is very odd. An intel of us said that inside is a complete HLL that is being governed by an Ashura. If someone mistakenly breaks in, he can never come out. Even his corpse will forever be lost. Even with the strength of a shadow? Even if the shadow's strength becomes 10 times stronger, I'm afraid not. The shadow is really said by his lack of strength. Ashura's HELL, how come that it sounds familiar? OSHIT. Give me the map of the knight's palace." Yes. That night, the Lord personally came out, she thought to herself. I see that the knight's palace is not as terrible as the legend. When she went to the palace in accordance with the map the shadow had given her, she froze for a minute. It seems that she guessed right, and it really is that Iceblock's house. Why of all places? It is here. Ah. She takes a deep breath. Okay. I'm going in. Uncle's body can't be dragged on that state for too long. She must make her move today. Determined, Mu Qian sneaked into the knight's palace. If it is someone else stepping inside, he will already be dead upon one step. But Mu Qian is different. Housekeeper Bai has commanded, Mistress Mu Qian she can freely come and go from the palace. So the various dangerous existences in the knight's palace completely did not attack Mu Qian. She knew where the pharmacy is located in the knight's palace. She knows it too well that she easily found the Jinwuxu Emperor Gra's among the various medicine cabinets. Master, someone broke into the palace. In the white dense smoke, a hazy figure is seen in the middle. Hearing this, Ju Yi remained unmoved, with no expression on his face. In a while the pair of closed eyes slowly opens. To enter the knight's palace without dying, only that special existence comes to his mind. Retire. Since Mu Qian got what she need, she wanted to get out of here quickly, but as soon as she was about to head out, Mu Qian saw that the lanterns in the knight's palace had been extinguished one by one. She stopped. She is a ghost doctor. She can't even count how many people cried and begged just for her to accept their treasures as a token of gratitude. But here she is now, stealing things from other. The ice block did not reveal to anyone the news that she had the Eternal Pavilion. He even gave her a lot of treasures, and she really felt bad about it. When Mu Qian was about to prepare to write her loan, in one of the knight's palace room a sound was heard. In front of her, the door has been opened, revealing a slender figure. She saw a world-class beauty that can make the moonlight lose all of its brilliance and confuse the hearts of people, matched with a pair of icy blue eyes that can send shivers down your spine. Do you know what is the hardest part for me in translating a novel? It is the paragraph filled with the over-the-top praises for the characters. Don't get me wrong, I like reading it, but sometimes it's making me confused at some point. But compared to Xie Jixing, that even the brows are carefully explained, Ju Yi is much more simple, ha ha ha. I hope you will grow faster taking things from my imperial palace than just leave without saying anything. He spoke in a low-pitched voice, perhaps for the reason that he just came out of the bath. It is also slightly HOA. Like a long-cherished mellow when a person drinks a good wine. Mu Qian looked at him straight and said, Your Highness, Knight Prince, I'm just going back to my residence. Say, do you have proof that I took something from your palace? This time, Shenyuan Ju Yi moved towards her direction. Mu Qian couldn't tell how he did it, but her arm was tightly restrained by him. At this time, the distance between the two people is very close. When Mu Qian bows down, in the open robe of Ju Yi, a perfect picture that can make people have a nosebleed was seen. A cold voice came, interrupting her imagination run wild. Do you want this prince to search? That pair of icy blue eyes, bottomless and cold. If other men would say that, she would think that he is molesting her. But will this cold Ashura even molest her? What a joke. The cold stare coming from Ashura makes her unable to look into his eyes. She glanced at the supposed to be promissory note in her hand. She began to stammer. I borrowed. I borrowed something from you. Look. I've also made a note. See. I am Mu Qianxi, the current lord of the Mu Jiao. Just ask what you lack of. I absolutely has no shortage of money. I owe you something and I'll definitely repay it. Mu Qian even patted her chest to ensure this promise. Shenyuan Ju Yi's fingertips move, taking the paper in her hand as he tried to read what nonsense this woman wrote. With just a flick, Mu Qian's so-called promissory note was burned to ashes. This doesn't count. You. Then just tell me what you want. Give me a word. Mu Qian angrily said as she tries to remove Ju Yi's hand from grabbing her. Mu Qian didn't think that with her careless attitude like this, the Ashura will be very displeased. Adding another low pressure and intense chill, she felt goosebumps all over. Shenyuan Ju Yi lowered his head, his lips slowly closing to her earlobes. The hot breath sent a jolt in her body. Mu Qian felt her ears are hot. Thankfully the cold voice of Ice Block cools her down. Ju Yi, my name. Eep. Mu Qian's face suddenly turned red. She looks confused upon what Shenyuan Ju Yi have said. Two pair of eyes is now at a stalemate. Mu Qian really doesn't know what to do, hence she can only stare at him, while Shenyuan Juyi felt that she is unwilling to call his name, thus making his mood sour, as he stared right back at her dangerously. Housekeeper Bai, who is hiding in the side, is dying. Master, can't you speak clearly? You want the princess to call your name, then just say it. What's the matter with you? So guys, you need to get used to it eventually. XD, the master seems to really care for the princess, else he will not allow the princess to call his name. The night wind is blowing gently, the two persons seems to be in a deadlock. Shenyuan Juyi, just as in the past, tall and cold, while Mu Qian felt more helpless. Is this guy gonna continue this till morning? What the hell do I need to do? In order for him to let me go? Your Highness Night Prince, you see the night's wind is very cold, right? She nodded and said. How about we return to our respective house and forget what happened today? Mu Qian laughed forcefully. Juyi. He frowned, and once again slowly says these two words. Mu Qian is not stupid, she just froze for a minute due to this guy's air-conditioned head. After he emphasized it twice, Mu Qian finally understood. Turns out he doesn't like to be called the Night Prince, she muttered. Ju-yi. Hearing these two words, Juyi finally let go. Thank you for your Jinwuxu Emperor Gra. SS, I will pay you back later. When Mu Qian was about to retreat quickly, her arm was pulled again. Mu Qian glared at him. This guy is addicted at grabbing her, all right. His movement was gentle and a little rough. He brought her to his arms, as the black figure disappears. Where are you taking me? He's not looking for a place to destroy her body, is it? But looking at this road, it seems to be a bit familiar. Bang! The door was pushed open. Mu Qian found out that this is his Lingyao pharmacy. Why did he bring her here? The Prince of the Night watched her for a moment, finally opened his mouth. What you want, take it all. The behavior of this man once again makes him unpredictable. What the hell is wrong him? Even giving money like this, is he also addicted? Mu Qian's look can't be described. She turned to Shenyuan Juyi. Night. Before she had finished her words, she was interrupted by the cold voice of Ashura. Juyi. Mu Qian take a deep breath. Calling the Ashura prince's name still needs psychological capacity after all. Collecting her thoughts for a moment, she said sincerely, Juyi, I want you to give me a reason. You've done so many outrageous things for me for no apparent reason lately. I do not want to collect benefits for nothing. This man is treacherous and mysterious. A housekeeper of his can even scare Shenyuan Li Tian to death. He's definitely not someone who likes to do good things. That pair of icy blue eyes looked at her, like someone who's devoid of emotion. He said, I hope you grow up quickly. Her heart rate slowed to half a beat. His hope and her goal turned out to be the same. Is it useful for him if Mu Qian grows up quickly? Could it be that in order to flatter Ting to follow him, he wanted to show off his wealth? Mu Qian did not ask for another reason. Although she's not familiar with this guy, she believed that if he wanted to say it, he'd say it. She still doesn't have the strength to force him to say what he doesn't want to say. She nodded. All right then, I will take these elixirs. Actually, you're right. I need to get stronger as soon as possible. Mu Qian like a bandit swept all the elixir inside. Night Palace is indeed the most mysterious place in the Purple Moon Kingdom. The things in his pharmacy were much better than her family's pharmacy. After wiping out Juyi's whole pharmacy, Mu Qian's figure disappeared in a flash. The handsome man in black robe looked at the direction where she disappeared. The corners of the mouth slightly evoke an arc. A ting u bastard. Let me go. What the hell is going on? She shouted angrily while being carried on his shoulder. She really doesn't know what happened a minute ago. Ting flipped her over. He rolled his eyes and said with a mocking tone. That man is insane. You'll ask me how did I know? Isn't it obvious enough? My instinct tells me that it must have something to do with me. He cleared his throat and continued. Because there is a contract binding us, he cannot take me away from you, since he cannot get any benefits from me. He is now so good to you. I'm afraid he is not coveting me as an eternal artifact but for this uncle's dazzling appearance. As your strength becomes stronger, the faster I can become an adult. By the time I'm strong enough to regain my human form, he will surely come for me. Mu Qian's mouth is twitching so hard right now. Someone come and kill this self-centered, disgraceful man. Go back to where you belong. I don't want to talk to you. Mu Qian's body flashed, as she quietly sneaked into the night. In the SPACE of Arting, as he watches the water, he whispered, "Ugly woman, the things that this uncle had said are pure nonsense. Hurry up and get stronger. The purpose of that guy, I'm afraid. What a bad luck. It is already difficult to have someone who is capable of forming a contract with." Arting becomes frantic at Mu Qian's future days. A dense MC. Check. An indirect ML. Check. A smart third wheel. Check. Sorry, I was on a meeting with my co-workers earlier. I kinda forgot to post it online, hehe. The founder of Mu Jiao since funeral, the people felt their lord had changed for the better. She don't go swaggering her wealth in the streets, she doesn't get jealous with Shenyuan Li Tian's affairs, and most importantly, she isn't the talk of the town anymore. Because as of now, Mu Qian she is currently reading books in the Mu Jiao's library, getting to know this world much better. In the previous Mu Qian's mind, there's no record of that at all. She is really odd, despite living all these years, she scarcely remember anything during these past 3 years. Aside from that, any memories of her past were completely blank. The memory and intelligence of the Lord before the age of 13 is like a baby. Afterwards, she met Mu Ruyun together with her sister Mu Ruyan. These sisters were the ones who accompanied her to learn more about worldly matters. But at the same time, they taught Mu Qian she not to practice and cultivate. She became accustomed to love ease and comfort and hate work, to squander money like dirt, and they also tried to hide her appearance with thick rouge. The extreme love she felt for Shenyuan Li Tian and her staying away from her little uncle was also the intention of these two. No one knows where Mu Qian she was 13 years ago. In any case, ever since she met her little uncle twice already and appointed her as the new lord of the Mu Jiao, she has to do her best. In this place, Mu Qian had learned a lot. She certainly can handle them now. Meanwhile, third master, the little master, is reading books in the library. A shadow suddenly kneeled down in one knee in front of Mu Wushuang. Millimeter. The little master is acting a bit different today, won't third master come and see? The little master seems to be like a different person. He's afraid that it's someone who disguised herself to look like the little master. Since his eyes are not enough, he turned to report this to third master instead. Only he can tell if it is true or not. He was not pleased with the little master's misbehavior, which smeared the title of the Mu Jiao's lord everywhere. But if something happens to the little master, how can he be worthy to stay beside his lord? No need, inform Elevener she can come see me anytime. Mu Wushuang said calmly. The shadow couldn't help but be surprised. But he can see that the third master looks undisturbed, so he decided to drop this topic and just follow his orders instead. He bowed and said, "Yes." "What?" Unexpectedly, Mu Qian she is studying in the library. The 3 elders are somewhat shocked. Did the sun rise in the west today? Maybe, due to suddenly withdrawing from her marriage, she felt motivated. Elder 1As summed. I don't think so. Clearly this little girl was an idiot 3 years ago. Now she's reading a book. When did she had the time to grow up? As I see it, she is just doing this for appearance. Elder 2 taunted. His precious granddaughter hand was mutilated by Mu Qian shi. He hated her to the core. Stop it, I called the 2 of you today to discuss what to do for tomorrow's clan meeting. Great Elder Coldy said. We will proceed as planned. The next day, a servant informed her. Lord, the elders are waiting for you in the meeting hall. The clan conference is about to begin. Mu Qian lazily said. Tell them, I will be a bit late. The servant secretly pondered. The Lord is truly scared. The one time she partook. IP8 in the clan meeting, the elders said cruel things that made her cry. Ever since then she never joined them again. No wonder she acts like this. Lord, the elders are waiting, he repeated softly. I'm the Lord, let them wait. Do they still dare to say no? Mu Qian's pitch-black eyes flashed a cold trace. With her imposing manner, the servant was somehow speechless. Forgive this lowly servant, I'll tell them immediately. He quickly flees. With the current attitude of the Lord, he seemed to saw the former lord instead. Mu Qian was dazzled by the sunlight coming in from the gaps of the window. She originally thought that being a nouveau riche, she could eat and drink her heart out. A group of wild wolves, posing as elders in the Mu Jiao, is truly a mystery that suits her appetite. Her father is an absolute genius. 9 years ago Mu Jiao appeared in the Purple Moon Kingdom. In order to start their business, her father exchanged elixirs to obtain money, and this was used as a capital. With only 3 years, Mu Jiao became the richest clan in the whole Purple Moon Kingdom. But after building their solid foundation in this place, her mother had disappeared without a trace. Some even thought it was just a fling. Her mother disappeared and her father had left to search. According to a shadow, she wanted to chase after her father. But her eldest brother, who is 16 years old at that time, had also left home when she was just about 10 years old. In the end, only she and little uncle were left behind. If they're at home, she doesn't need to deal with this shit. As a second generation in the family, she should be living in peace. She don't need to cultivate and practice martial arts, but instead focus on making medicines and poisons, spend her life freely like a fairy. But now, she not only need to deal with these old men but also maintain the Mu Jiao's financial situation. In Mu Qian's eyes a dangerous trace was seen. Since these old badgers are here for me, then don't blame me. Even if the founder of Mu Jiao isn't here and has been gone for almost 19 years, even if you tried to jump, I will not let you guys get what you want. In the meeting hall, that damslut even dare to let us wait for too long. Due to Mu Qian arriving slowly, the hall's atmosphere is cold. The looks of all the 9 elders are gloomy. Only the elder sitting at the end of the 9 elders is sipping his tea calmly. This time a cold hum was heard. If this lord tells you to wait, you will have to wait for this lord. Don't forget that I am the Mu Jiao's lord and you all are just slaves of my family. A purple dress with silver embroideries swayed in front of each of them. She take a seat gracefully and grandly as if she was the emperor. The delicate skirt slipped down, added with the gorgeous light, she looked like a goddess sitting in her pedestal. The woman's phoenix-like eyes and luscious red lips, skin like snow, flawless, her hair is black like a raven's feather, an incomparable beauty that is out of this world. Words can't describe her enough. All the elders froze. Who is this woman? Is it Mu Qian, she's twin sister? Everyone can't believe their eyes. The Mu Qian they know always keep her head down. Whatever harsh things they say she won't retaliate and just cry. But now, it was as if they had been trampled under her feet. Who are you? The third elder asked. Mu Qian's mouth sneered. Is the third elder's eyes blind? You don't even know what this lord looks like. Say, what is the use of keeping you here? The third elder shut his mouth and did not dare to look at her anymore. They all knew now that this lord had completely changed. She can't be bullied easily anymore. The great elder compared her appearance before and today. He did not suspect her as a fake, because even Mu Wushuang didn't said anything either. He suspected that the previous Mu Qian was just a plot by Mu Wushuang to trick everyone. The previous lord, Mu Fengyun, was a peerless talent after all. His daughter will definitely not be stupid. No matter what, she is still Mu Qian Shi, with her little uncle to back her up. Who will still try to fight her face to face? Even if they find her suspicious, they are afraid to act. Mu Qian slowly and carefully glanced at them. An elder broke the silence and said respectfully, "Since the Lord is here, the clan discussion begins." This chapter is too long. I almost wanted to split this into 2 parts but decided to post it late as a whole instead. Mu Qian Shi's parents are still alive. She even have an elder brother, but sadly they are all apart from each other. You're tuning in to the Dreamy Chapters YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.